Good morning, everybody. It's March 24th at 11 a.m. This is a work session of the Lake County Board of County Commissioners. Maybe you'll all join me in wishing Elsa a happy birthday today.
Happy birthday. Thank you. Blessings shared with all of you.
And our first item is overview and discussion regarding potential options for the future of the Lake County landfill. This will be led by Michael Irwin, our Public Works Director.
Bring it, Michael.
Okay.
Let's hear the news.
You wanna open the
Yeah.
right down there? Do you want to operate it or do you want me to?
You can operate it, I might just get it shared for you really quickly so I can. Here you go.
So, welcome to the Lake County Landfill Plan and Update for 2026. This is a quote from the Colorado Integrated Solid Waste Plan, CEPAT, having to do with the Central Mountain District that we're in. It says these counties, including Eagle Summit, Pitkin Lake, Gunnison, Chaffee, and Fremont, based on the feedback that they got from when they were doing this plan, that even with the small size of our landfills, that regionalization is generally not a good fit for this area because of the difficulty associated with getting to the landfills from other counties. So that they emphasized improving the few inadequate landfills, which we are one of them, and we're almost adequate now. But to meet regulatory standards and consider, transferring to a nearby adequate landfill. So the landfills around us, Eagle Summit and Chaffee, are adequate landfills. Their design engineering plan meets the state standard, and their groundwater monitoring. Our groundwater monitoring is now up, and we just got approval of our EDOP, so we should be adequate once we get the landfill built, if that's the direction that we're going. So this is our landfill currently. The outside blue is the total area of landfill that we can put trash in. The inside blue is the current filling area with the expansion added on there right now. This section was a 3-year section that we built up in about a year and a half. And this is the section that we're still permitted to put trash on. This is the new extension or the expansion to the landfill that we're working on, that we just got approval to begin construction with. So this is the final plan when the landfill is completely full. And you can see this section is down, the new section is way down here. The top of it will be about 10,500 feet, and the bottom of it's like 10,800 or 280 feet right now. So we still got a long ways to go, but we got to build around the existing landfill now and line it. So once we get the first line cell together, we won't be able to put any more on top of the existing landfill until we get to that height and can line it also, so that it doesn't add to the unlined landfill right now. Basically, our whole landfill is unlined right now. So we are currently at about this orange line that goes around. It's 10,380 feet. So we do have this much area of fill still in the landfill. The only problem is this road gets really steep to come up and fill in there. So we have about 217,000 cubic yards of airspace left currently. If we go, this one number here is a little bit off, I couldn't get the right number in there, but we're looking at about 28,000 cubic feet a year right now. And that's about 8,500 tons per year. So doing the math on that, 28,000 cubic yards divided into 217,000 is about 6.5 years if we used all of that space.
Can you mark this person?
Yes.
Wait, what? We have like 7.5 years left on our landfill,
Yes, if
period?
we keep building it up on the exact same
Without addition?
without additional. And that's still permitted. I got those numbers from our engineer.
Oh,
So we can still build up on it, but it gets really touchy with the state.
you're saying if we don't expand into what we're already
We still
permitted
have
to expand
that, we
into?
would be closed and
Oh, got it, okay, sorry. I
if
thought
we
you were
didn't
saying-
increase the amount of stuff that we're taking in.
Yeah.
So that's just a number that, we were at last year, that 28,000 cubic yards.
Okay. Well, that's more than I thought we had, for whatever reason.
Yeah, cause we were looking at like 2 to 3 years.
Yeah,
And that's what we were told
yeah,
before he started getting into the new plan and deciding where we can still build.
okay.
But it is still in the permitted landfill, so we can still
Right.
put trash there. We just stepped up again the other day, didn't we? So you can't see that number. But the design activities, this is for the new cell right now, where would be at, it's about $8,500 for design. Earthwork bid is about $22.5 million. The geosynthetics lining that has to be put down is almost $1,989,000. Surveying of the landfill, $8,000. And CQA, which is quality assurances to the state that we met all of the requirements before we could put any trash in there, that has to be done. That's about $52,000. So the total of $3.6 million right now to do that new cell. Our revenues and expenses for the last 3 years, the landfill revenues about $850,000 to $900,000. We had a really good year in '25. We're still looking around that $900,000 mark. So '24 is a big year because we bought that compactor. So we were high that year, but normally around the same amount. We've got a little bit higher in personnel, but generally everything's been pretty much the same. About 950 grand is where we're looking at for expenses every year now. So landfill closure costs. That's from the 5-year financial assurance plan that we have to supply into the state every 5 years to make sure that we meet their requirements and we have the money to close the landfill if we had to. So this was done in May of 2017 and then revised in 2022. So our closure costs, these are just a breakdown of all the costs. 2022 was $1.6 million. And that's just to close the existing landfill. And then $500,000 for post-closure care. So we have to, whatever we do to close the landfill, we have to maintain that for 30 years. So that's what that $500,000 is to make sure that we can do that.
Every year, or just?
No, that's for the whole 30 years, so, but that is, the total cost at that time. So in 2022, we were looking at $2.1 million that we needed to have in the bank to prove that the county could afford it. I'm not sure if that's the right word, but.
I think it's the right word.
So that was the update in '22. In '23, CDPHE made us to an inflation factor to that, so we're at $2.7 million for all of that now. And then in '24, we're at $2.8 million with their inflation factor. So right now, we haven't done it yet for '25. We'll be looking at '26 pretty soon. But we're at $2.8 million that we're supposed to have in the bank right now. And this is what we have. For the closure, we have $1.4 million and 443 in the landfill fund itself.
Okay.
So that does show that we are saving money, that we are setting it aside for the closure. So we're trying to meet their requirements.
Does it have to be in the fund for it to count as funds
No,
available?
because they know that the county,
We have funds in other places.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, great.
and they also go by whatever our audit says.
Mhm.
So if we're in good standing with our audit, and I think we have to give that to them every 5 years also.
Mhm.
They use that along with the funds that we have.
Okay.
Is that in an interest-bearing account?
I don't think so. Because I don't think it's grown over the last year, so.
Maybe we could take that up with Patrick.
I don't know if it can be with the state, I'm not sure how that works with the state. So the next topic is transfer stations. And that quote I got from CDBHE also.
I love that.
It's a place where trash goes to rest.
It's so sweet.
So transfer stations can look a lot like this. Inside, basically, to keep the water and stuff out of the trash, to keep it from blowing around, to keep it contained. Vehicles actually pull in, that's kind of why I got these pictures. There's a dump truck over there, pickup truck backing into it there. So building sizes and stuff also vary, depends on how much we get in per day and we have to handle. They do make them with a trench that has the compactor in the trench compacting the trash. They have it so you can just load it into
Cool.
the truck without it being compacted, which
Mhm.
is a waste of airspace in the trailer to me.
Mhm.
If it's not compacted, we're not getting bang for the buck. They also said that Lake County doesn't have transfer stations, but we do. Both of our recycle centers have a trash container that trash is resting in.
That's a pretty funny joke, Michael. I like that.
But yeah, we do have transfer stations in Lake County. They did have to get approved by, planning and zoning to be able to be there. We have to meet certain requirements from the CUP to make sure that we can keep them. So typical transfer stations, run from anywhere from $100,000 for a small one to $10 million for a large. The state considers our landfill to be medium to large landfill because we've gone over the threshold for a small landfill.
What determines a size?
The amount of tons that we take in a day,
Okay.
we're over the 20-ton limit for a small landfill.
Mhm.
So we're the next step up. That's why we have to do a lot of different permitting with our Title V air pollution permit and stuff because of the methane that trash gives off.
Doesn't it seem a little like a bit of a flag that we're such a small county with a relatively small population, but
We have a lot of trash.
Yeah,
Yes, it does, and that's why we check at the gate for out of county visitors and stuff, because I know we've gotten some from, you can help me out here, but I know Park County, we have gotten trash from Park County. I know we've gotten some from Summit County.
yeah.
Park doesn't have a landfill, is it?
No, they don't, but they do
Why would
ship
they
theirs
come
through
over?
transfer station to Denver, I think.
Why
I
would they
got a
come all
map
the way
showing
up
where they go to.
Costs
versus Salida?
versus
Versus
the
Shaky?
transportation. Or maybe they're working here.
Yeah, they could be working over here someplace, or
Okay.
I know sometimes we get trash from Summit County because they work over there and live over here.
Yeah,
And it's quite a bit cheaper.
Yeah, and it's cheaper over here to dump.
You wanna dump some
If we
trash?
can prove they're from out of county though, or that the trash came from out of county, which is kinda hard to do
yeah,
unless you follow somebody into the county with trash and go to, follow them to the landfill.
I know
Can't
you
stop them
want,
on the road and search it without a warrant, is what I found out.
So anyone who's
Where's
out
he?
of county can just say, oh, this was trash for the job here though?
Yeah, basically, cause we have no way to prove that it was not from a job in town if they have a county, Lake County address, or prove that they pay taxes in Lake County. So, a small facility, about $100,000 to $1.5 million. The next step up is large to medium, medium to large, 4 million to 10 million. That's 250 tons a day, so we're still way below that. But just for numbers to have something to go with. Cost breakdown to build a recycle center, about $800,000 for grading, utilities and foundations. About $2.5 million for a steel structure, often cited at about $35 a square foot. I'm not sure if where that falls with building in Lake County right now. Equipment, 375. Scales, we don't have a scale yet. We're looking at trying to get one. Loaders and compaction gear, still have to load to beat the trucks. Transfer station I saw in Colorado Springs has the compactor in the trench. They actually push it out and it loads onto the truck that's out at the end of the trench. It's actually down below.
that's cool. But Michael, sorry, how much tonnage do other county landfills our size manage? Or do you know?
I know that we've got a really small county
Yeah,
comparatively. I know Chaffey County handles a lot of trash, but they've got a lot of, a bigger population
yeah,
and more area. Summit County and Eagle County both have bigger populations and they handle a lot of trash.
is there a sense of like what kind of trash we're managing? Is it construction trash?
We do have a lot of construction debris that comes in, a lot of concrete, asphalt, bricks, that we even have to keep in a separate space.
Yeah,
Do other counties just use the driver's license of whoever's dropping the trash, or is there a way to be like, if your driver's license and your vehicle has to be Lake County to qualify for the local rate versus? Cause I get the feeling that there's trash coming in here from,
We've accepted a lot of trash over the last 10 to 15 years.
well,
And
we're
it's-
so, like, you'd think that we'd be a way cleaner community. Not that we're trashy, but like, I've got tons of stuff in my yard,
no, yeah, and like, just drive down Mountain View.
who
It's-
doesn't have
it's
tons of
pretty
stuff in their
bad.
yard?
Yeah, I do.
Like, what, yeah, this is why I live here. Why, what is getting thrown away?
I don't know, cause like Pitkin County, cause I visited their landfill several times, they have a place for people to drop things off.
I love that about
Like-
Pitkin.
Barbecue grills or things that are reusable, like skis and stuff. So over in Aspen, you could probably get some pretty good skis that they're just setting down there.
I've gotten 3 awesome rugs at Pitkin.
But yeah, I'm not sure if Summit County has that, but I do know that they have a pretty good recycling program.
Yeah,
Pitkin County has the best recycling program, one of the best in the state. But they have a lot of money to follow with it too, I don't know.
yeah,
But they, looking at their sites, they don't do a whole lot different than we do. They do try to get things separated out of the trash more, even when they're at the landfill, putting it in certain areas. And we're trying to do a lot of that too with the, steel pile and,
and slash.
slash piles and stuff like that,
Yeah.
so. I don't have an answer to how we can check them more at the gate.
Do any of the other,
Like an ordinance.
Sorry, Michael. Just to let you guys know that if we see construction debris,
Yeah,
we do question, do you have, if it's demolition, do
yeah,
you have a demo permit? Because one of the things we have to question is asbestos.
Right,
So
Right.
we need the asbestos clearance as well.
yeah,
So if they do come in and they're from out of county, I do ask them, do you have a permit?
yeah.
When you're doing constructions, we would like to see a copy of it.
how is that complied with usually? Are people pretty able to provide that documentation to you guys? And
Yes.
is that staff-wide too? Like, you're doing that, is the whole staff trained up on that to do the
Yes.
same thing?
Yes.
Yeah, cause that's sort of like construction demo, I feel like would be kind of a big one, right? Like, that would be a low hanging fruit for people doing work in Summit or Eagle to be like, oh yeah, take this up to Leadville, we'll save $100, we'll save $200, whatever, you know, like.
New construction contributes, a new house produces tons of waste.
Yeah.
A lot of it's combustible, a lot of it's just blocks and stuff. It'd be cool if we had an incinerator, don't we?
Well, we have an air burner, but there's certain things that can't be burned in there, and construction material is one of them.
Right. Nails and treated lumber.
So if it's untreated lumber, we can, but if it's treated lumber, we can't. Or if it has paint on it,
Right.
stuff like that.
So Pitkin must have a couple guys on the ground just.
Yeah, they do. They got, I know they got 5 or 6 people at the gate for every time somebody comes in. But they're a pretty busy landfill though too.
Yeah.
An ongoing operating cost for that same thing, about $2 to $5 per ton for larger facilities. Total processing, hauling, disposal can go from $20 to $50. In a managed facility, about $595 annually for crew and heavy equipment operators. I think these are low, because this was done in 2014, the information that I got. But like Chaffey County, I did check them at like $49 a ton for disposal. So the trip from there to here to that, I'll go further down. The trip from there to here to there is like 49 miles, so that's a 2-hour round trip. That, put that back in there just because of regional landfills. So, Lake County's right in the center of the mountain district. See our landfills red and green, and that's because the design and groundwater monitoring didn't meet spec, but they do now. The state put in a couple new wells for us. That's how they found out that we are releasing VOCs, volatile organic compounds, from around the landfill into groundwater. That's why they put in 2 new wells to monitor where that's at, because the wells that we currently had, we're not picking up any of that. So they just shifted them around because they found out the water runs a different way across the landfill than they thought it did. So we did pick up some that they're not at an action level or anything right now, they just want to keep it that way. So like Park County, you can see it goes to landfills along the Front Range. Even parts of Jefferson County go to El Paso County, looks like. These counties down here go to one landfill in Rio Grande because they have the same problem with inadequacy. This one kind of surprised me that they have a design problem in San Miguel County.
Is that shared though, between the
Yeah, there's a lot of, landfills that go to that one single one. But Lake County is adequate now in designing groundwater. So Lake County is considered a regional landfill, so UPHE has been working with us to become compliant with the design and groundwater requirements. as of February 26, 2026, the landfill received approval from CDPHE for the engineering design and operations plan for the Lake County landfill. The next cell would provide an approximately 34 years of airspace. As discussed herein, all we need to do is construct a new cell now.
So that 3.5 million price tag would get us projected 34.
Yeah. Just the letter from CDPHE, showing the approval. So the options: close the current landfill, landfill closure $1.9 million. Landfill post closure $837,000 over 30 years. But that's what it would take for the 30 years. So to close and maintain $2.9 million, and we have 1.4 in the landfill closure fund currently. To build a transfer station, we're looking at $2 to $5 million. Going to Chaffey County, it's one-way trip for 49 miles, around 2+ hours, possibly 4 trips a day. Eagle County, one-way trip is, I don't know why I didn't put the number down there, but it's like 53 miles.
Wolcott or whatever.
Yeah. So an hour and 11 minutes of round trip, so 2 round trips a day, or every 2 hours. Winter travel over Battle Mountain, and then, Fremont past I-70, it adds like 2 minutes to the trip. Probably because of the speed, but, winter travel that way is 2 passes, Fremont Pass and Trail Pass. Summit County one-way trip was 49 minutes, so about 49 miles also. Fremont Pass and I-70, so you have a pass to go over that one another time. Constructing a new landfill cell. Today's price is, last year's price is $3.6 million. We can work on sections while we still have airspace. We need to contract someone to install liners. Because we can make that, meaning we can remove trees right now. We don't need help doing that. We can sell trees to local people that need firewood. We could sell permits for them to cut the trees that we need cut. So we can do things to get moving in that direction.
Yeah.
Once we get the tree removal done, dirt work, a lot of the digging and stuff can be done by landfill crews and road and bridge when we have time. That would help a lot with moving dirt. We have a lot of dirt to move because we have to dig down to get the sump, the collection sump all the way, to a place where everything will drain to it.
That was the biggest component of the new cell bid summary, was the earthworks.
Yep.
But at 2.5 million, just north of that. But from what you're saying here, it sounds like there could be some in-house.
Yeah, we're still using the old landfill or the existing landfill. When we have time, we can do some of that digging ourselves. And get it, close to where we can have a contractor come in and finish grade it and get it ready for the liner.
Sorry, go ahead, Andy.
So that could potentially bring down the costs of outsourcing all the earthworks.
Yeah, because it wouldn't be contracted out, it would be done in-house with.
Do you have a place for all that dirt?
Yeah, well, we've been taking it out of lately, we can bring it back and stack it there. And yeah, we will not run out of dirt if we keep doing that. Every time we dig a new cell, we save the dirt from it. Because having to buy dirt from out on the market can be quite expensive.
No, let's not buy dirt. If we can help it. I love that. Michael, I'm sorry, I just looked up on the EPA website, like what kind of waste fills most of our landfills, and 21% of it is food. And 23% of it is paper and paperboard, and 12% of it is plastics. That's a,
Things that we try to get out of there.
yeah, that's a huge amount of our, that's over half of our landfill is filled with things that I think we want to have diversion programs for, but I don't think we've ever really properly invested in that to make it quality. Like, maybe some of our other companion counties are investing in. But am I wrong about that, or like, why is our diversion potentially not doing what other communities are doing?
Because we're doing the best that we can with what we have.
Right, so what do we need to do better, I guess is what I mean.
So like food waste, you need some way to turn it to either power or composting.
Right,
And that was one of the things that we were looking for with the grant that we applied for last year. So that's about $1 million for the size of landfill that we have.
okay,
We didn't get the grant, so we're kind of, that might be something, you know, that Chafee did get the grant, but I'm not sure what their grant was actually for, what they had in mind of doing, what they were doing with that grant.
yeah. I guess the only reason why I'm bringing it up is that it's expensive to expand our landfill, right? And regulations are only gonna go up, only gonna increase, people aren't gonna decrease regulations, and the cost of everything is gonna go up, so like, when I see like a proposal for investing in our landfill, in my mind, it's like, okay, well, how can we also invest in the whole economic picture of our landfill? And to me, that a big part of that is diversion. If paper, paperboard, plastics, and food is half of landfills in the US.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason why I'm bringing it up. It'd be great to see like what that investment looks like.
Yeah, you know, and we try to teach people what can be, but what can be recycled.
Sure,
But a lot of it, they contaminate themselves at
Totally.
offsites.
totally, and I think that it doesn't get done just through like behavior, trying to change behavior from the few people who are just trying to like keep the
good.
landfill intact,
Right.
and the few people who are trying to do good, like that, you need to invest in order to like change behavior on a big way. So this is not a critique
No,
of you or staff, it's more like, how can we invest properly to slow down this rate of our landfill filling?
well, I do know a lot of changes are coming through CDPHE again. As far as recycling, they wanna see more composting, more everything, and because they don't wanna see the landfill fill up either. I
No,
don't either.
no, none of us want that.
But we haven't got to, you know, what actually can Lake County do,
Yeah,
because we're unique.
yeah,
At 10,000 feet, all of the landfills that do have composting are about 2,000 plus feet lower than us.
yeah,
They don't have to deal with the cold as much as we do in the wintertime,
sure,
and being able to keep the heat built up in the composting. I've heard that not only, you know, from CDPHE, but from other landfills, that people that helped them get started, that Lake County is just unique
sure,
in what we can do, and that's kind of what I was thinking, you know, if we could haul that stuff away to somebody that can use it, that would save us a lot.
yeah,
If it's not going in the landfill, you know, but are we balancing that with what it costs to haul it away too? I mean, whether
Yeah.
we can collect it and haul it.
well, I think there are probably lots of different ways to skin this cat, right? And like I compost my stuff, not cause I can't, I've tried to have like a backyard composter or all sorts of different, you know, worms and blah, blah, blah. And the only effective way I've found is with C4. So, you know, we do have these like quiet ways to do this, but not like a pervasive systems-wide way to do it. So I would love to keep talking about that, especially if paper and paperboard are 23%, that's more than food.
Yeah, it is.
That's huge. If we could keep that out of our landfill more. Anyway, just
I have a few questions.
gotta talk about it.
Eventually, we're gonna have to cap our landfill because of the emission standards. Do we know what the cost to cap it will be?
That's,
if we expand the landfill, how long will that one last us before we would have to expand again?
so if we expand the landfill, it should give us about 34 years of trash. Landfill is permitted for 264 years worth of trash, which is at every section that we open up, we have to get approvals from the state. So any new laws, they go into that new landfill with that new cell, we have to incorporate it into our design plan. I missed the other part of your question.
Oh, I was just wondering, what would it cost to cap it? Because it does look like that'll be a requirement
Yeah,
in
so
the future.
the state has already mentioned that they would like parts of the landfill closed, the existing landfill closed, which entail 2 feet of cover with a GCL liner on top of it also, and that's in that landfill closure cost of $2.8 million right now.
Yeah, but isn't there an upcoming requirement that the new landfill will also have to be capped? Just because of the emissions, not the one we're closing, am I correct?
Yeah, we're monitoring that. I think it's being led by the Grand Junction area. But it's still, it's not official, it's not a law yet. But the number, if I remember right, was for smaller landfills, about $10 million.
And so that's part of Reg 31. It's not in effect yet, but it could affect us probably 10 to 15 years with the amount of trash that we have in the landfill.
I think one of the big reasons I kind of asked for us to take a look at this is we have had another county, Chafee, reach out, and they did get a grant to expand their landfill, and they would consider, as they're doing their specking right now, specking it if we wanted to be a part of that as a transfer station. I think we really need to think about what will we be able to do and how likely do we think it is that we'll have to cap the landfill
Either
and
way,
sort of weigh our options here.
we will have to cap the landfill if we close it and we
Sure.
become a transfer station.
I meant the new one.
So even if we become a transfer station, that could cost $10 million to cap the landfill? Why is that not included in like the landfill closure?
Well, right now it is, but the new regs, Reg 31, that we don't meet the standards for right yet.
Yeah.
But we could, if we continue taking trash.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Right now, our design is to do it this way and not the requirements of Reg 31.
right.
I feel like I'd like to get some more real numbers for what it will cost to be a transfer station versus to expand if we know that we will be capping the landfill. Cause that's really the question. If we miss the opportunity while they're speccing it out, then that's kind of off the table for us. And I guess my concern is just
How much would that? Yeah.
cost to make.
Well, both, like how much would Chafee charge us is also a number we don't have.
Well, we're gonna sit down with them and understand that, but I felt that we needed to know what we're currently doing and what the cost of the landfill will be.
Got it.
I feel like a transfer station's gonna cause some serious problems. But that's just a gut feeling about people dumping in the woods, and not really based on any hard data.
Do you talk more about that?
Well,
Because
we've got a lot of common sense and great rules, right? But we really have a hard time getting people to adhere to rules, you know, look at our recycling centers. And we've had a traditionally under or inadequate enforcement aspect, you know, like I don't know when the last time anyone's had to pay a fine for littering or dumping in this community. And we see it every summer, you know, all the stuff that pops up, oh, there's another big pile of trash in the woods, and, you know, it's this tricky dance of like trying to do what's best for the dump, and trying to charge what the dump actually needs to operate, versus how many people are just gonna drive through the woods and dump a couch back there, dump a mattress, dump construction trash, dump, you know, I've seen it all, like firsthand, I imagine a lot of people in this room have too, you know? Yeah, so where does how do we factor in that cost, you know, to the
Yeah.
community?
How does I respect your gut, Andy, and if you don't have an answer to this, that's totally fine, but how does a transfer station potentially
Okay,
increase that?
well, so I've used them in other areas.
Okay.
They're really, it's a long process, it's a procedure. You drive into a giant warehouse, you got people who are wizards behind the controls of heavy machinery zipping all around you while you're you're waiting in line. It's like a process to go to a transfer station.
Mhm.
If you've ever used one, they're pretty intense. So, and it like, the feeling that I have of that versus anyone who's had experience with our dump feels really easy to use to me. It's also really affordable. What I've paid out of my own pocket to use transfer stations in other areas is like 3 times what we would charge here, at least, if not way more, you know, but we have big projects, we needed them to get done, so we did it, and I feel like, you know, we shift to a transfer station, it's gonna cause roadblocks. It's not, the reason, I feel like an easier to use dump, local, less waiting in line, less cost, like that encourages people to use the dump. Probably with pros and cons, because, you know, we're filling up way faster than we should be, but if we start making this process harder and more cost prohibitive, I think naturally, just human nature, it's gonna steer people to illegally dealing with their trash, which we already have a problem with. But I could foresee that getting a lot worse, just boiling it down to simple, you know, cost and simplicity, ease of use. And we don't have any way to enforce it, and we can't even keep trash out of the recycling bins, so I don't know how to crack that nut.
I do have a comment. Phoenix hauls their trash to Buckeye. It's about an hour north of Phoenix. And all the residents, it's $55 a ton, 40 minimum. But contractors are not allowed to use those. That's $300 a ton at private transfer stations. Like Weinberger and Gilbert, just a minimum load. They're all landscapers, construction guys. They have to go to a transfer station. And it's $300 minimum. I was down recently and I was doing some work at my parents' house, and the minimum load for all junk, my dad's kind of ordered, was $300. So that's how the Phoenix areas handle this. They separate commercial, landscapers, construction people, industrial from the regular transfer stations that they use. Just a thought.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I don't know, it seems like it's pretty clear, a new liner. I mean, we're gonna have to cover it if we close it. If these new regulations come in, we're gonna have to cover it anyway, so. We set the covering aside, add up closing the landfill, all those costs, the cost to close it, the cost to buy all that new equipment, to build the building. And then the cost to haul it and the cost to dump it in somebody else's landfill, all that adds up. So my question is, how quickly do we need to come up with the 3.6 million if we've only got 3 to 5 years? Can we get on a payment plan? Or do we need to come up with it right now?
Now, I do have a question for the attorney. Landfill's an enterprise fund, I believe. What's to keep it from getting a loan from the USDA? There is a loan available.
Nothing, I mean, that I'm aware of, we're gonna have to dig into the specifics, but yeah, there's an enterprise fund.
Cause I looked for grants from the government to build landfills, and that's the only thing I came up with is grants and little,
Low interest.
interest loans, business loan type stuff.
Yeah, nothing that I'm aware of.
The second part of my comment is, I hate to say it, we're gonna have to raise the prices. Your operating and expenses are a little bit higher than your income. If, if we could just make a couple hundred a year or something like that, and then maybe raising the prices or would incentivize people to start recycling a little bit. And then also maybe, I mean, I can't even believe I'm saying this, but when I build a new home, there's so much garbage, and I've gotten a lot better, but back in the old days, I was like, I don't have time really to separate all this. So maybe we could tie something to your permit for your new home, like you agree to, like, not a cost necessarily, but somehow you sign this thing, you agree to separate the amount of cardboard
Yeah.
that a new house produces, and remodels too, so. And then the foam, the polystyrene, and the extruded polystyrene, so.
They do that at, Summit, look, they've got sorted construction and demo loads. Oh, I'm sure you know that, sorry.
I dumped at Summit once and I was so shocked. I was doing a remodel over there, I just started bringing it back here, cause it was, I wanna say 20 years ago.
You're the guy we're looking for. It's him.
Wow,
Well, no,
wow.
that was so un-Matt of you to, like, I'm really impressed with your, the realness you just, brought to the table there about like increasing costs for builders is like
Yeah.
something I don't think I've ever heard come out of your mouth, so much respect
We just
for,
pass it on, and there, eventually it'll get too expensive to build anything, so, every little thing hurts, but if it's at the cost of our landfill, we can't afford to not start charging a little bit more, and maybe the commercial folks have to pay a little bit more. I mean, it gets passed on, or at least more regulated, which I can't even believe I'm saying that.
my thought is to really go after out of area stuff by not only a Lake County driver's license, but the vehicle has to be registered in Lake County as well. I feel like if those two boxes, it add a lot of checking for you guys at the gate, and I feel bad, I don't
Well-
like that aspect, but
I've
The-
seen a lot of landfills with like, you get a sticker, like on your vehicle, you have to go through the whole, proving where you live and so forth, and probably paying for it, I don't know, because I never actually paid for it, but
Yeah.
like where I grew up, you had to have a sticker to go to the dump. And then they knew that you were local, they knew that your vehicle was local,
yeah,
and
like
I don't know.
like a $1 or $2 check fee, if they don't have the sticker, but they're still local, there's just an extra
Well,
minimal.
maybe they would have
But
the
if they buy
ability
the
to sell
sticker for
stickers
a
there.
few bucks, then it's like they can go in and out,
And if you got the loan, it'd be nice to find the income to pay for the loan, cause you're already operating at a
Yeah,
loss.
and a lot.
Mhm.
Well, and if it's like an annual sticker that you have to re-up for,
Yeah,
pay $50 or whatever. It's not,
But-
I'm not that pay $50, but I'm just saying. It's a one way of doing it, although a lot of those, like if you have the sticker and you pay for it, then you don't pay to dump, you just dump.
So everything I was reading when I, was doing the research on a bunch of this stuff was that a lot of governments do just raise fees at landfills because of all the stuff that comes in, teaches people and forces people to recycle instead of dump. I think one of the biggest things that would be a good investment would be a scale. I've been against it for years because I don't know if that, in the wintertime, that they would be that accurate if it's ice in it. But just being able to say, hey, this is how much trash you brought in, this is what it's gonna cost you. Maybe they'd wanna divert some of that.
Yeah.
Instead of taking it all to the landfill.
Yeah, there's a big difference between uncompacted construction debris.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's just paper and air, a lot of air.
Which is the biggest, I mean, I feel like volume is almost more of a problem than the actual weight of the trash. Is it?
Well, yeah, everybody else does weight, but you can have a huge amount of,
Styrofoam.
it's mass, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're talking about,
Yeah, but
Cubic yards.
that's what that compactor's for, is to make it small.
sure,
It compacts it down, so you get like 300 pounds per cubic yard.
Yeah.
Compacted, where
yeah.
non-compacted is a lot of air.
Okay.
Michael, I feel like what I'm hearing a lot of talk about is like, kind of two different things. One is the liner and expanding. Sounds like we don't have enough information about a transfer station and what that would cost and what our options are. And we would like to be able to weigh those two, eyes wide open, right? Because this is such a big investment. And if we do expand the landfill, that could potentially push us into the Reg 31 and the $10 million cap, right? Which will probably become like a $20 million cap by the time we cap it. Right, so really knowing that and being able to make a decision for generations to come is kind of what we need some more information about. And then the other part of it is how, if we were to keep a landfill, or no matter whether we're gonna keep a landfill or not, like, understanding how we can divert in a significant way more things from the landfill. Because even if we were to reduce, even if we couldn't divert, if we could only divert 50% of the 50% that like is divertible, plastic, compost, paperboard, even if we could only divert 50 of that, that's 25% reduction in what's going into our landfill. And that'll slow us way down. That would be huge for us. So I personally wanna hear more about what are some solutions, what are some things that we could be purchasing or investing in that would actually help us divert to slow down our landfill, cause this is untenable.
Yeah, can I set some big picture context for that? The
Yeah,
discussions kind of we're having related to that.
Yes, please.
So in addition to this sort of discrete need is like we need to figure out what we're doing with our current landfill.
yeah,
This is all happening in the context of climate action plan, comprehensive plan that has a bunch of environmental and natural resource goals in it that kind of speak to a lot of the stuff that you're talking about.
yeah, okay,
And in addition to that, we've been looking at a government technical assistance program to help us walk through different programming at the landfill that can help with that circular economy. So
awesome.
we've been talking to C3, and I'm forgetting what the name of. Anyone help me out with C? No, there's a C3 and a C4. I'm gonna draw the distinction real quick.
C3 is the state technical assistance from CDKG.
Oh gosh,
Somebody just jumped on.
Create,
Yeah.
it's Colorado
Maybe
Circular
not.
Communities, that's what the phrases are.
okay,
So we're pursuing that at the county level, the technical assistance program through C3, and then we have our sustainability contractors and partner C4
okay,
in the room here who are, have a lot of great ideas about how we implement, things associated with the climate action plan and the comp plan related to those environment and natural resource goals. So
okay,
to your point, I think it's a
Okay.
yes and. It's like we need to talk about what we're gonna do about this landfill that's rapidly coming to capacity if nothing changes about our diversion.
right,
And then we also need to talk about how do we increase the diversion and composting and recycling and all of these things that will give us more life on the landfill,
yeah,
but also, could help inform, if we do end up partnering somehow with JP
Yeah.
on regional operations. That's also happening. So just wanted you all to know that is.
okay, awesome,
Thank you, Josh.
thank you. We are county commissioners, we're C2.
Wait, what? Okay.
County commissioners, C2, CC, county commissioners, C3,
Oh, God.
Save all the Cs.
C4. Wow, this is a lot of information. Thank you so much, Michael. And your staff for putting all this together. Oof.
I mean, this is a quick turnaround time. We don't have much time to spare and sit on this, so. What's your feeling, Mike? What's your preference? Transfer station or an expansion?
My preference would be with the landfill, because we own it, it's our project, it's our responsibility. We're not transferring stuff to another county.
Yeah, mine too. Let's keep our trash local.
What's our timing on this? Say we were to be like, yep, full bore landfill. What is the actual timing of when you all would need to start moving dirt, cutting down trees, moving dirt? Okay.
And since Chafee has just reached out to us because they haven't spec'd their
Right.
grant funded facility but could include us, I think preferences aside, we need to get real numbers
Right, yep.
and actually run those scenarios and ask over, say, the next 50 years, however 30 years, whatever life the landfill would be. We need to run numbers for both scenarios.
Yeah.
But I certainly don't wanna continue to spend time on that if that's not something we want to explore.
Yeah.
I think that's really the direction I'm hoping to get today is, do we want me to go get that information? Because I've gotta do it pretty quickly.
Got it, okay.
Or,
Can you just tell me about regulation 31, how that comes into play?
It all has to do with methane,
Methane.
and releasing from the landfill. I don't know all the details of it because
It's not law
our
yet.
engineer's been helping us with that.
What's that?
Our engineer's been helping us with that,
Okay.
but he told us the last time is we won't be there for several, probably 10, 15 years, where we even need to worry about that with the amount of trash that we're taking today.
So is that a factor in our contemplative process here, or?
Yeah.
Cause it's a liner, it's a $10 million tent that covers the existing
And
road.
basically just GLC, plays and stuff that cover the landfill.
It's dirt, right? I mean,
Yeah,
But that happens regardless of
Yes, it
whether
has
we
to.
close.
it's just different thicknesses and stuff that will have to happen to it to keep the methane in or
Yeah.
where it can be collected and used elsewhere.
when you talk about airspace, it'd be like cap, then go on top, and then cap, and then go on like every certain amount of levels, I guess. So we're right at the threshold of where we need a cap before we can keep going up with the existing space. Is that
We're getting close,
potentially?
yeah.
Okay,
That's why we're looking at doing the next expansion outside of the existing landfill.
yeah,
Cause that's, to build up the whole thing, that's where we need to start the next cell out. I believe there's like 19 cells specifically laid out currently.
I really think the landfill needs more revenue, like it's got a lot of work that needs to be done. I'm hesitant to just immediately jack prices up or entertain the idea with, collaborating with you guys on jacking the prices up for locals. I personally feel real strongly about identifying and jacking the price up on out of area trash. It might just be a drop in the bucket, but it sounds like this problem is gonna be a really multifaceted solution. There's no silver bullet that's gonna check all the boxes that we need for the landfill. So it's gonna be like diversion, generating more revenue, coming up with a plan, getting solid data for different options. I really like the idea of, the vehicle and the person needs to be from Lake County to qualify for the local rate. I don't know if that's how big of a lift it would be for you guys to implement that, but that's something I'd really like to discuss further.
Oh gosh, well, and methane is produced from food and paper. Again,
And water.
and water, obviously, but it's an outside landfill, so done, right? But the food and paper is what is, I don't know, I just like mathematically, that is what it keeps coming back to a little bit for me. I agree with you, Andy, I think it's, like, there's no silver bullet and there are a lot of little incremental things we can do to help bolster the landfill. And Michael, did I just hear you, there are 19 cells that we could be expanding into before we have to go up?
No,
No,
that's as we go up.
as we go up,
15 different cells.
okay, and sorry if I missed this, each cap would be like $500,000 then, is that how you get to the $10 million? Fun. I think you should also make mattresses way more expensive to dump, based on everything you've told us about
We
mattresses.
recycle mattresses now,
Okay, awesome.
as long as they're recyclable.
That's my
We
new,
do recycle, because a mattress can be completely 100% recycled.
cool.
So we do, fund a little bit of that to make sure that we can get them into recycling instead of in the forest.
Nice, that's awesome. Michael, do we have to, or anybody, do we approve landfill fee increases? We approve all fee increases?
Month or so,
Yeah,
That was like a rolling one that we've had in
Yeah.
effect for a while, just a
right.
yearly. But I think
It was minimal too, just
Yeah.
a couple
Yeah.
bucks a yard.
Yeah.
we might be due for,
I'd say I'm very open to seeing a more comprehensive fee structure for us to approve. And then Candace, to your question, can we get more of a pulse on this group? I hear Matt saying that the landfill, going with expanding the landfill is what he's interested in, not really interested in the transfer station. I'm kind of hearing similar vibes
yeah,
from you.
I'm absolutely opposed to a transfer station. And nothing personal, and anyone who
Yeah.
likes that, it's just,
I just don't wanna waste time going that direction if I can just say to JP, hey, I don't think that's an option we wanna explore, but thank you for thinking of
Yeah,
this.
totally.
see,
I guess I personally don't have enough information to be able to make the call even, so
So I
my,
haven't even tried to get more information.
yeah, my inclination would be to explore that. Cause other than gut, I don't have any sort of way to make this decision.
Stuart, did you have something you wanna add?
I did, maybe it's useful, maybe it's not. $3.6 million that Michael presented.
Yeah.
That's if you amortize it over the 34 years, that's $105,000 a year, $8,000 a month, $400 a day for 20 days, you can open that a month.
Did you do that?
So it's only $400 a day,
Yeah,
if you think about it, so you can bring in and pay for the expansion.
Did you just do that in your head?
We use
I am an
voice.
engineer.
Okay. That's amazing.
I mean, this is where I know, I'm sure the county manager team is working on it, but like an actual, what does it cost for us to maintain our operations with our capital? And operations and capital, what does it actually cost us every year to maintain the government that we have? Would be great to know, and I'm glad we're working on that. But that's the kind of numbers, Stuart, that like I would personally want built into an everyday operational plan.
Yeah, there's other things that Michael hasn't shared, like, one of the vendors came and talked to us about a shredder that reduces volume by large amounts, big
Mhm.
commercial shredder, and there's a lot of things that Michael talked about in another meeting that would help,
Yeah,
this kind of thing.
okay.
Alright,
And I don't know if it has any relevance to it, but when we think of transfer station,
Mhm.
what's gonna happen with the recycling and composting program?
That still continues,
Huh?
that still continues. The more you can even get out of that transfer stuff.
I mean, our recycling program is already a transfer station,
Right,
right?
but what I'm saying is if we go fully transfer station with Chaffey County,
Yeah,
what's gonna happen to our recycling program
Right.
altogether?
like, does it have to be a single point? Instead
Exactly.
of having multiple recycling stations or, a satellite recycling station like we do currently. that is easier to get to for people in town than it would be going to maybe a singular point near or up by the dump or airport or whatever.
Sure, I guess it'd be good to know if that would actually
Yeah.
change.
I would assume it would if we go transfer.
Why, Robin, why do you think?
The reason why I say that is because if everyone thinks, okay, we're going to go to a transfer station.
Uh-huh,
One, the battle that we've been having and the challenges that we've been facing as far as having them or encouraging them to recycle, are they gonna recycle it? Or are they gonna take it straight to the transfer station? And you see what I'm saying? What our recycling program that we have now,
yeah,
if we go to a transfer station,
Yeah.
what's gonna happen to our recycling program on a whole?
isn't it kind of separate from the landfill right now?
It will be separate, but if everyone's gonna say, hey, it's a transfer station, why am I even recycling?
Yeah,
You see what I'm saying? If
Oh,
they're
You think
throwing
that
things-
people are recycling right now because they're trying to keep things out of the landfill?
Yes,
Oh, okay, cool.
yeah. So if,
Yeah, that might change some people's behavior. I see what you mean, thank you so much.
and then is there gonna be more recovery in the forest?
Yeah.
Than what we face with now.
yeah.
That's a good question.
That's one thing I would like to say is that there's a sentiment out there that why should I recycle? I've heard I've seen them throwing the recycling in the dump, so, and education or some kind of outreach to the public and explaining why that happens, cause it's contaminated, but just saying there's a lot of sentiment out there, like, I heard they just spent all that time separating it, and someone said they saw it getting tossed in the dump, so.
I wouldn't go into what we found in those containers. It's
Trash.
pretty nasty.
Yeah.
That's usually when it goes to the landfill because
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect them to touch it or try to salvage anything out of it.
Yeah, gross. Okay, Candace, is that enough for you?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Just wanted to make sure we gave direction and stuff.
And then, I think our next guest is here, and we have a couple of other people presenting, are we okay if we?
Find out what we have.
Staying on
Thank you,
schedule.
Michael.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks to everybody. Appreciate you guys and all the work you do.
Yeah, it's very cool. Yeah. Something about. Yeah, but
You said you emailed it?
Yeah, it should be over.
Okay. Is this it? That should be already.
Hello, good to see you. So grateful. When did that happen?
Yesterday.
If you can email me about it, or, I can try to,
They might have.
yeah, I don't know, like, if I can't look at a computer and any additional information you can provide.
Okay, next agenda.
Thank you.
Hi, how are you?
Hello.
Claire,
Hey,
welcome.
guys. How are you?
Good.
there.
Good to see you again.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Love being up here in Leadville. My people.
Do you wanna, to drive the
Yeah.
presentation?
That'd be great.
Right.
Let's see.
Agenda item 2, overview and
Thank you.
discussion regarding protocol and expectations for, sorry, I'm just gonna jump in your chair there for a second. Regarding expectations for potential power outage events.
Welcome Blair.
Hi, thank you guys for having me. I feel kind of strange sitting. Would it be really awkward if I stood?
Do what you
Not
want.
at all.
Awesome. Let me see, how can I do this?
Stand on the
Would
chair.
this be too weird? Yeah, sorry. Alright, yes, we're gonna talk about some of the things that we've already talked about. Wildfire mitigation efforts, what we're doing to prepare communities for wildfire risk, how we're reducing outages, and how does that improvement restoration look like post a PSPS, a public safety power shutoff? Okay. I wanna start with this page. So we're gonna go over a lot of things that we've already talked about here together, but I'm gonna give you a little bit more context because we've lived through it a little bit more since we have last time we spoke. This is our interactive wildfire risk tier map, and I'll send you guys this deck after today. And you can click on this, you can take a look at it. But you can see we're tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. A lot of Lake County's in tier 1, which means that we are a little bit less prone and have a little bit less opportunity to experience a public safety power shutoff event. Okay, that's good news. All right, this is just a little bit of what we've been doing, what was approved in our 25 through 27 wildfire mitigation plan. We were approved by the PUC to spend $1.99 billion in investments. That is hardening the system. That is improving our feeders. That is, we have done an aggressive pole replacement projects across the state. I think those numbers are on here somewhere. 10,000 pole replacements with a focus on higher risk areas, a lot of vegetation management, operational mitigation, and then situational awareness, which is like Techno-Silva and some of the software programs that we're using to kind of predict our wildfire modeling. So again, a lot of this is stuff that we've talked about, but I don't want to move too fast, so please stop me if you have questions. System maintenance and upgrades, this is kind of the things that we're investing in, right? Preventative measures, vegetation management, first responder and community outreach. This has been huge for us. And we've gotten a lot of positive feedback on that one. Advanced technologies, and then safety and preparedness. You've seen this before. This is kind of just what we're doing. You can see the system hardening, enhanced power safety settings, kind of how our modeling works. Again, I don't want to move too fast, but I also want to make sure I get through everything. Okay, so this is kind of some of the work that we've done. This is numbers from 2024 alone, so it does not include 2025 numbers. Almost 9,000 in distribution poles replaced. A lot of work on our transmission equipment. Yes, we've been busy. This is a big concern for us. Okay, reducing operational risk and getting to a go. So how are we going from enhanced power safety settings into a PSPS event, a public safety power shutoff? We use entirely too many acronyms, so if I accidentally slip one out without clarifying, please stop me and make me go back. Okay, enhanced power safety settings, EPSS. It's a proven wildfire mitigation tool. This is something, a way that we operate our lines, shockingly a lot. It is kind of crazy how often we are operating, thank you for that, Jake. It's kind of shocking to me how often we operate, especially these days, how often we operate our lines in enhanced power safety settings. So what's happening when we're operating our lines in enhanced power safety settings? When we're in normal operations, we have what we call automatic reclosures on those lines. So if a bird, a squirrel, a branch, whatever it might be, hits or trips that line, it's that momentary flicker, right? Mm-hmm. It's that it automatically recloses, it automatically re-energizes, and you automatically have power back. When we're operating in enhanced power safety settings, those reclosures are turned off. And so when anything strikes that line, I know I've told you this way too many times, I apologize. When anything strikes this line, we're sending crews out to patrol it and to ensure that there is nothing sitting on that line that could reignite and create a point of ignition. How is that different from public safety power shutoff? And I think that this is a place where there's some confusion out there, right? Public safety power shutoff is a tool of last resort. We are not in the business of turning people's power off. We are in the business of keeping people's power on. However, We feel it is our responsibility to prevent communities from catastrophic wildfire, and again, this is one of the tools in our toolbox, last tool in our toolbox. So with public safety power shutoff events, we are proactively turning your power off. That is different from an enhanced power safety setting in the sense that something had to trip that line for you to lose power in the enhanced power safety setting. For the PSPS, we proactively did it. Get that slide at the top. Yeah. Again, EPSS allows power lines to remain in service during periods of high wildfire risk with additional protections, right? Public safety power shutoff is a risk reduction strategy in which we're temporarily turning people's power off. Big differences, right? What we are going to see here in Lake County, more often than not, is the enhanced power safety settings. So when we lose power, like last week, and we have those extended outages, it is because we have crews out there patrolling those lines to ensure that we are not going to catch anything on fire. That is what is happening. It is causing extended outages. It is making it longer for us to get the power back on for folks. We are deploying drones. We are sometimes deploying helicopters to patrol those areas if the winds die down enough for us. But it's a challenge. It is absolutely a challenge, and it's a place where we know we need to get better and faster, but we're not there yet. We're working on it. You guys feel free to stop me at any point. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about public safety power shutoffs, what the event actually looks like, right? So what's happening internally, sometimes it's more than 72 hours in advance. We know that these things are coming. We can see through the forecast. On those down-sloping winds, wind events, it's a little bit harder for us. We're hitting closer to the 50-hour mark, which we're committed to through the PUC. So more than 72 hours out, it's increased situational awareness. We're starting to meet internally like 5 times a day. It's kind of aggressive. The modeling is getting redone about 5 times a day, if not more. I mean, it gets really, really intense, really, really fluid. At that 48 to 72 hours, that's when we're like, okay, are we go? What are we doing here? What's happening, right? The 48 hours is where we are committed to notifying our customers, right? So we're gonna start sending out press releases. We're going to start sending out notifications to customers, all of that stuff at the 48-hour mark, if not before. If we know before that we're definitely going to cut the power before 48 hours, we will start messaging earlier. But we are committed to that 48-hour mark. For medically vulnerable populations, that is at the 72-hour mark. So they have a heads up at the 72 hours that this could be coming. Often at the 72 hours, we're not sure yet if this is going to happen. Very fluid. This is kind of our playbook for communications. So the potential for event, that 48 to 72 hours in advance. The pre-event, the 48 to 72 hours again. The go decision. The event, we de-energize, right? People have lost power. It's happening. Restoration. Restoration's been a challenge. I will always be very clear with you and transparent. We feel like we've gotten much, much better at the communications leading up to a public safety power shutoff. Where we need to get better is on the restoration side and communications around restoration. It is taking us up to 5 days in some instances to get power restored. And it is because we're having to inspect those lines and ensure that there's nothing sitting on those lines that is going to reignite. That is still happening in a PSPS event. Restoration is a challenge. But let me add a couple of things here. On top of, let me get into it.
Wait, Blair, you can go back for a second.
Yeah.
Where is the communication Where does the communication happen with PSPS?
Let me get to that slide.
Okay,
No, great question. Like, what are we actually doing?
yeah, who are you telling and when, within your internal timeline, when does the communication go out to your partners?
Yep, let me give you that.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna give you some real-time data from the PSPS events that we executed on December 17th and December 19th of 2026. So this is what we're looking at, right? These are the polygons for the December 19th event. On the 17th, we proactively de-energized 50,000. On the 19th, we proactively de-energized 60,000, an additional 120 lost power, right? So this is the challenge that we have. It's not just the 50 people that have been proactively de-energized, but then there's like across the state, we were in EPSS settings, right? Enhanced power safety settings. So we lost power through that too. We're losing power through the wind event, which is pretty natural, right? Like you typically expect that,
Sure.
right? And so now our crews are not only having to deal with the PSPS area, but they're also having to deal with the EPSS areas, right? So we have crews across the state that are out there just patrolling lines. They're on 16-hour shifts. That's safety regulations and stuff. And we're doing everything that we can to get those lines inspected. But that is one of the main reasons why restoration is taking us so long right now.
From the communications aspect, just one quick clarifying thing. When you say like 50,000 or 60,000 customers, that's each meter, like each billing address, not like the 3 to 6 people who live in each house, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
That's a great clarification.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, this is kind of what we're looking at for criteria. So, this is what we actually saw. The National Weather Service criteria for red flag warnings is here. Relative humidity of 15% or less, sustained surface winds or frequent gust of 25 miles per hour or greater. I mean, we see that all the time, right? Both conditions must occur simultaneously for at least 3 hours. The point in this is ours is much more stringent, right? We're not just issuing a PSPS event because the National Weather Service has issued a red flag warning. We are looking at much more detailed data, and we are making our decisions with a lot more informed information, if you will.
Is each one of those a trigger, or does it need all 3 of them?
It needs all 3.
Okay.
Great question. It needs all 3 of those. Great question. Okay. Actual communications. So, potential for an event, right? This is that 48 to 72 hours out. We have contacted our OEMs at 80 hours in advance. The incident command has been activated. Local and state officials have been notified. The PUC is part of that. Critical customer list, that's our medically vulnerable population. OEM briefings, we start having those like 3 times a day. Medical device customers, I mentioned that. Oh, I'm sorry, critical customers, this is like water treatment plants, things like that. And we've been working with your OEM department to identify that critical customer list, get it loaded into our system, so that when we pull up those feeders, we know exactly where that water treatment plant is, and if that's the feeder that we need to get online first, we have that ability and we can do that quickly. So when we're trying to get restoration going, we are trying to prioritize those critical customers as much as possible. All right, so pre-event, this is around that 48-hour mark. Mass communications, that's, press releases to 9 News, all of those people. Emails to our medical device customers. Again, those OEM briefings are still happening. It's the same kind of stuff, it's just more detailed information. We know that we're at a go, right? Go decision, news conference at 2 hours, activated. Again, 3 times per day. Customer comms, mass comms, local, it's kind of obnoxious. Again, it's a lot of the same stuff. This restoration is where our communication needs to get better. Just again, being very transparent with you.
It has to be a lot better than it was with just technological advances, drones specifically.
I'll tell you what sucked this last time and where we failed. Our outage map. Our outage map needs a lot of improvements.
Oh.
And so we felt like it was not operating in real time, one was our problem.
That
And
was
then,
really challenging, cause I had no idea how many people were without power, and then I called the dispatch center and I got two pretty wide swaths of numbers, and then I was trying to figure out, if we're gonna have a place for people to shelter, how many people.
right,
So,
but
if
we're,
I was able
but
to
we're
get
not
that
talking
would
about a
be-
PSPS, so a little bit different.
This is the PSPS that happened to us last week. But
Yeah.
we do wanna go through comms for an EPSS too, cause I think that's where we have had some struggles, and it'd be great to hear from you.
Well,
Like,
just
what
the
is-
map not being accurate did make it.
Yeah, and our map is going to continue to be a problem, like for this event, I mean, again, just to be very transparent, we didn't contemplate two overlapping PSPS events. Where people are aggressively logging in and I mean, it crashed our map a few different times, So just things like that. When it comes to EPSS communications.
Yeah.
That's something where our system is not so sophisticated where we have an outage on our distribution lines.
Mhm.
We don't know that until someone calls in.
Report an outage.
Yeah, I mean, we only know about the outages on transmission. And so when it's on that distribution, we are still and again, this is part of, upgrading old systems to new systems. We do not know that it's happened until we get the call.
What is the difference between a transmission line and a distribution?
Great question. Okay, I like to describe your transmission lines as like your I-70s and your I-25.
Yeah.
And then your feeder lines are like your state highways, if you will. And then your distribution lines are like your driveways and your parking lots. So when any outage occurs on the feeder or the distribution lines,
Yeah.
we don't know about it until we get the call from the customer, which usually doesn't take very long.
So wait, let me talk us through then. So say somebody, and I don't know how many feeder lines, like how many transmission lines come to Lake County?
I don't know a lot, I don't know the answer. I mean, you've got a substation right here.
Right.
So that's a transmission, like starting point essentially. So you
Okay,
have a
so
lot
transmission
of,
would come off of that.
yes,
So what happened last week was a feeder or a distribution
yes,
outage?
yes.
Even though it affected a significant amount of people,
Yes.
that was
Yes.
small in your,
It was,
okay, so then when Excel hears that somebody's power is out, how many people's power, like how many notifications need to be gotten by Excel to know that it's like, oh, this is a bigger issue?
one. Once we have one, we can start exploring the system. That's when we can start, like, we don't need 5 to deploy a team.
Yeah.
We need 1 to deploy a team, right?
So what happened can you go through this is all interesting, but can you go through what happened last week instead?
Yeah, and I apologize, I don't have all of those details off the top of my head. The way that I recall it, Candace, you might have to help me talk through this. I didn't know that there was an outage until Candace called me about 12 hours later, right? And, which I was kind of surprised that nobody else called me because I know enough people in this community have my cell phone number that I usually get calls, you know?
Yeah.
But I didn't hear about it until about 12 hours later. And then as soon as I heard about it, we were able to get some information and start making some plans.
Mhm.
But I guess I'm kind of looking for you guys to communicate to me and I can track down whatever information you need. Like if I had gotten that call first thing in the morning, I can call the ops team and say, hey, we're looking at about a 12-hour outage. It might not be until tomorrow.
So,
But we don't know what the problem is.
yeah,
Like, unless we're proactively turning off your power and we've called you to tell you
yeah,
that we're proactively turning off your power,
You don't know.
we have no idea what the problem is.
unless it's a transmission line.
even then, we probably don't know what
No,
the
the
problem
problem is
is,
we know that it's
we
out.
know that it's out.
So, okay, so I'm just trying to talk through how we can make this better in the future. Would the solution then be to like make sure that people are informed that when their power is out, Excel has to be their first point of contact?
Yes, and that's on, it should be on most people's bill, like, we
Sure.
we put that out there, like,
Yeah, but you can write something and it doesn't matter. So just like for us to be like, hey, this will help us prepare for your power outages in the future.
yes.
In order for us to have a warming station or a shelter, like you have to tell Excel when your power is out.
We need that information in order to figure out what the problem is.
Right, to then determine how many people, like we're not the ones determining how many people
No, we are.
are out of power, right? So there's no point in being a middle manager, a middleman in that information.
No, we want them to call us directly.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
We should help get the message out.
Yeah.
Other people need to make that call if their power's out.
Exactly, yeah.
And it's, even if their neighbors probably made the call, they should still.
The more calls we get, we love it, but again, we'll deploy at once.
Yeah, I just assumed you guys knew when my power was out.
That we knew,
Yeah.
we do not.
Okay.
Again, we do get notifications on transmission outages.
Mm-hmm.
And now that, yeah, anyway,
Do you mind if I ask a question?
sure.
I thought part of the, we all received smart meters, or most of the community received smart meters about 9 months ago. I guess I thought that they would report outages.
It is my understanding that they do not.
They're not that smart.
They're not,
Yeah.
they're not that smart. No.
Okay. Interesting.
Were they
That's my
ever,
understanding. I could be incorrect, but that's my understanding that we still need people to report.
how is it that you can turn off a meter through a smart meter, but you can't tell how much power is being, how you can't tell that the power's off?
Because we don't have, if we had to staff that, rates would be through the roof. Right? Like if
Why
we,
is it just a program that's telling you, hey, we're seeing a lot of outages through this smart
I
meter?
don't know the answer. I don't know the internal workings to necessarily answer that question. But
Yeah.
what I can say is that we do have that on the transmission.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
do not have that on feeder or distribution lines.
Okay, smart meters can't tell when the power's out.
They're not sending notifications to us. They might be able to tell. Again, I'm not an engineer.
Weird.
Do people with power poles on their property own those power poles?
No.
You own them.
We have an easement.
So what if someone had a power pole that was about to fall over?
We'd come and fix it. We want them to put in a work order for us, and we come and fix it.
What if that person has tried that route like 4 times and?
They should call me, and I'll get someone out there. I'll give you my card that you can pass along. I apologize that that's happened. I can help with that though. That's why you have community relations. Those are the questions I can answer.
Okay. Thank you.
Alright, everybody good
Yes,
here?
go for it.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no, you're fine. I
What,
don't wanna move along too fast.
What are your most effective community outreach
Text.
avenues? Like, what is the best way that you have found historically to get these messages out? Cause I see also queuing up notes, it's already in my head, like, we need to say something at the next regular meeting when we get
We
a
need to do
chance to
a
just.
press release, we need to do some comms around this.
Yes, that's what I'm asking, if we were to kind of ramp up our messaging to the community, what are your guys' best avenues that you think would?
I've got a slide on it. We want everybody to get their information updated, their account information updated, because you're right, we're sending text and voicemails. And like, we do have everyone's contact information, right? So we do feel like that's one of the best ways. Again, up here in the mountains, we're a little bit different, right? And I truly believe the relationship with the Office of Emergency Management is absolutely critical. And that is where I feel like we're seeing the most success, is when we have strong relationships with the Office of Emergency Management, we are able to communicate not only to that office, but also to the community effectively. You guys are the trusted people, right? People don't trust Excel. And so the message coming from your Office of Emergency Management, I feel like, and this is Blair's opinion, I feel like is more meaningful than almost anything else. I think that coming from your social networks and things like that, I think is very, very powerful. And so ensuring that that relationship is very strong is very, very important. Candace has been great here in Lake County.
Many
Think
hats.
about hiring
Many
for
hats.
the OEM position.
I know that she'll be happy when that happens. All right, don't wanna move along too fast, this is a great
No,
conversation.
it's good.
I feel like I need to follow up on the smart meter question. All right, restoration. These are just some pictures of the damage that we see, right? I mean, this is just 4 pictures, it was like this across the state, right? In Summit County, we had, I think it was like 6 poles snapped in half. And we had to deploy, and this is the thing that we need to think about here in Lake County. We had to deploy people in snowcats. We had to partner with the county to get plows out to help us get people up there. Without the Summit County's partnership in helping us plow, we would not have gotten restoration done as quickly as we did, and it still took over 24 hours. But again, I want to make it perfectly clear to everyone that Summit County was not under a PSPS when this happened. But there were still parts of Summit County that were out without power for well over 24 hours.
Why?
Because we had outages across the state and some of those people had been without power for 48 plus hours.
So why did that affect people in Summit County?
Because Summit County was in enhanced power safety settings, not PSPS. So they lost power through the weather event, right? So not proactively.
Yeah.
And so we're not just dealing with Summit County,
Yeah.
we're dealing with the entire state.
Yeah.
And while Summit County was like, we don't have power,
Yeah.
I'm like, I totally hear you, I am pushing this as hard as I can, but the reality is there's some people in Boulder that have been without power for at least 2 days, and it might be longer for them. So, you know, we're all in it together a little bit is the point. And again, just because they weren't in PSPS does not mean that they didn't lose power.
Right.
It is a very, 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 very high likelihood that if we are executing a PSPS event elsewhere in the state, you're gonna lose power because you're in EPSS and it could be extended. Again, I just wanna set very real expectations.
Because you only have so many crews to work with, and they're already need to go in and inspect all the lines that were under PSPS. You know, and it's whoever's been out the longest gets first.
It's not even whoever has been out the longest necessarily. I mean, that does play a little bit of a role into it, but it's also looking at feeders that carry those critical customers. So like, if we're looking at a feeder down in Boulder that's got their jail, a water treatment plant and whatever, and we've got 200 people in Lake County that are just homes that are out, the priority is gonna be down in Boulder, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's not, again, necessarily the amount of time, but just the fluidity of the event and what's actually happening, right?
Are there any mobile crews that like, say like, you know, like how wildfires work, there's people who trip, like, do you guys
Yes.
ever bring in?
Yes,
Okay.
and we absolutely do, and that's where we're lucky, right? If we really got into a jam where we're starting to push 3-5 day outages or something like that, we're gonna start, we serve 8 different states, right? We're gonna start bringing in crews from New Mexico, from other areas. The problem with, especially a couple of these events, is that, while we were executing a PSPS event in Colorado, we were also executing one in the Texas Panhandle, and we were also executing one in New Mexico, because we're all in that same weather pattern, right?
Yeah.
So it's a challenge, it's a real challenge, and I don't wanna under-deliver the seriousness and the amount of time that it is taking us for restoration on these events. I wanna set very clear expectations.
I wanna let Richie ask a question.
Yeah.
Do you tell the public or the OEM departments in the counties when that area enters EPSS?
No, we would be sending emails like 90 bajillion times a day. because we are that fluid. We're not like the bear where you're like, hey, today we're low and today we're high. Like ours is really, really fluid, like changing every single hour. And so we don't have the manpower. Your rates would be through the roof if that's what we needed to do, because we are operating in enhanced power safety settings, particularly these days, more than we're not.
Do you have any, well,
That might be
we're not, or, I mean, do you have any, like, could you cite data how, like, many times a month or year our county using EPSS?
I could maybe pull it for the county, it's over 50. I mean,
Over
it's
50 per,
percent, I mean,
okay.
it's over 50% of the year, you're probably in EPSS would be my guess. Like, I think hot, dry,
Sure.
low relative humidity, high winds. I think that's the environment that we're living in these days right now, and that's when we're putting things in EPSS. And so I think that we'd rather have people start thinking like that, like, hey, it's hot and dry today. Hey, it hasn't snowed in months. Hey, I'm probably not gonna burn today. Hey, I'm probably in EPSS settings today.
This is so helpful, Blair. I really appreciate it. And, you know, it was so helpful this summer when we reached out to you and you gave us some material to give out to our mobile home communities who are getting shut off because of
EPSS, yep.
EPSS. And I'm curious if you all have any data on when lines are going down and when people are calling in, because we will definitely encourage people to do that now alongside the county. But I'm really curious because I know some of our mobile home parks were disconnected for like 12 hours at a time this summer. I also think they're not often home during the day and they're very unlikely to call you all. And I'm just curious how we could try to shorten those cutoffs whenever, or those shutoffs whenever possible, if there is a connection between, hey, we just didn't know till it was shut off for 6 hours.
I think that's a great point, particularly with some of these mobile homes and stuff. And I don't know if you got my email that I sent you yesterday.
Yes, it's on my go-to list.
Yeah, but I sent Emily an email yesterday, gosh, what was it about? The home, sound the alarm.
Yep.
Home inspection, fire, and Dan's next on my list to talk to about this. Chief Daly, excuse me, is next on my list to talk to about this. But, you know, we do work with the Red Cross to try to target low-income communities and neighborhoods and go into those homes and install fire alarms, things like that. And so I threw it out there to Emily that there might be a couple of neighborhoods up here that would be a good fit for this year that we can get into and stuff, so. But hey, I love that idea. I bet I can look into some of that data, and if I can't, I'll find out that I can't, but let's look at that offline. I think it's a great idea, because I think that you guys do. I tell everybody at Excel, I'm like, you know, C4 is a very interesting organization because they are so focused on sustainability, yet they do such strong work and spend a lot of their time just keeping people's lights on. So thank you for that, really appreciate it. All right, everybody's questions answered for the moment? Lessons learned. All right, what went well? Communications to stakeholders, we felt like went well on the lead up to the event. 2,500 critical customer premises in total were contacted. I mean, that's huge for us. Daily outreach to key accounts. Key accounts, think like Climax, like it's those large businesses, organizations that have their own account holder, if you will. We do have a partnership with the American Red Cross to help us engage shelters, warming huts, things like that. We found during these events that they were really charging stations more than anything else. And even during the Marshall fire, I think we had like 6 people in a shelter, just nature of the event, right? We handed out dry ice. Dry ice was an ask, and we were able to rally that and got dry ice out into the community. Our online outage map sucked. How do we provide accurate restoration updates accounting for unknown damage? I mean, that is our big question. That's it. Like if we can answer that, we'll get a lot better at things. Notification to tenants and non-account holders. So exactly what you were saying, you know, like if you're renting and your landlord has the bill, how do we get in touch with you, right? And then overall awareness. This is it, right? Like, I can't tell you how many people from Summit County called me and said, what, this is a PSPS event, right? I'm like, no, this is not a PSPS event, I promise, we would have let you know well in advance. However, when we have high wind events, you're going to lose power, right? Like, we can't prevent that. If we do, we'll be damn good. Preparing for outages, right? This is a little bit of what Emily and I are talking about, want to connect with Chief Daly on, but, you know, building a home emergency kit, medical and food considerations, and then we want everybody to update their contact information so that we can get a hold of you. Go on to a more fun topic after this one. That's my presentation for you guys on wildfire.
Thank you.
Any other questions that I can answer?
I have a couple.
Sir?
Is Excel going to do a better job about cutting the entire tree rather than just limbing it? Because during a wind event, we still had the issue of the tree being above those power lines that could have, now it's even more weak. And it could still go on the power lines.
Yes, we are doing a better job with our vegetation management. However, because Lake County is considered, most of Lake County is considered in that tier 1, I'm gonna speak transparently, you're not on the radar right now for any vegetation work this summer, to my knowledge.
Okay.
I know that's not what you wanna hear.
No. But, I mean, are they gonna do, is it in talks with, you know, everybody on the ground, the boots on the ground mitigation efforts to cut the entire tree rather than limbing it?
Yes, that has been a change to our vegetation management efforts since we were in here in 2023.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Yes, because I did tour around with Commissioner Mudge at the time, and what a lot, not all, but a lot of the lines that we did look at are communication lines, not our lines, which is common confusion, but communication lines all hang off of our lines, and they're those lower ones. So any line that's closer to the ground and thicker, that's going to be your communications line. So, you know, I think of the one coming into my house, I could probably jump up and grab that communications line, where I can't necessarily on the electric line. I can't.
Then one more question.
Yes, sir.
We had 7 calls in one day for wind events. I think 2 of them were power lines, one was a power pole, the other one was a line. Then the other ones were a tree on a house and, you know, stuff like that. Is there anything that you need from us that can make your response more, you know, rapid for those types of things? Is there any information you can get from us from dispatch
Yeah.
that will help you get out here faster in the event?
Probably. What I'd like to do is let's set up a meeting with the ops team, to get a better idea from them, what information they're looking for when we get these kind of calls, Chief, because I think that they'll be able to give you a much more knowledgeable answer than what I'm thinking off the top of my head. But I think that that would be a worthy, exercise.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone else? Again, don't wanna move too fast. I'm ahead of time though.
Go for it.
Awesome. Rates are going up. We have an electric and gas rate case in front of the PUC right now. I know, again, this is not what anybody wants to hear, but I will always come in and speak nothing but transparently. Key themes and customer value. I mean, the way I describe this to folks, we haven't seen a boom like we're seeing in our industry since the air conditioning units came online, and before that it was the light bulb, right? We're bringing EV.
Everything's electric now. I mean, people don't even have to walk anywhere. They're just.
I mean, it's kind of crazy, and you know, I lost my thought a little bit, but yeah, here it was. You know, traditionally, we get to the end of a line, we lose capacity on even the electric grid, you know, and we put that upgrade onto the developer, right?
Mhm.
They see the ROI on that. We don't feel, we traditionally have not felt like it's right to put that back to the ratepayer, right? That's changed. We've got EVs on the system, we've got appliance electrification, we've got large users, i.e. data centers. I mean, it's exactly what you just said, you know, it's here. So how do we manage it? I guess it was 2 legislative sessions ago, we got the distribution system planning bill approved, which allows us to look at our grid and plan for 5 to 10 years out. We've never been able to do that before. Traditionally, we've only been able to plan maybe 3 years in advance, and it's because we want to keep rates low for our customers, right? But the model's changing, right? And we need to change with it. And so that's what you're seeing. You're seeing, you know, we're building large solar and wind gardens on the Eastern Plains. We are being mandated by the state to hit 80% carbon reductions from 2005 levels by 2030. We believe we'll hit it closer to 88% by 2030 because of those solar and wind gardens. But we need to build the infrastructure to get the energy that's being produced out there to where people actually live, right? That's what we are. We're an infrastructure company that builds infrastructure that sends the molecules through, right? That's where we make our money too. I want to be very clear about that. When natural, I always joke, I wish we were that powerful, pun intended, where we could set worldwide commodity rates, right? Like for natural gas. But when things get really cold, we don't set those, right? We're paying $7, you're paying $7. We're nothing but a pass through there. Where we make our money is on the infrastructure that we put in the ground. This is a map of just all of the rate cases that are happening across the country right now. It's not just us. Like I said, you have not seen booms in the industry. You've seen 2 of them, right, in 100 years, 100 plus years. So it's happening across the country right now. Xcel Energy is very committed to keeping ours as low as possible.
What is the white connotate? Why are we white? I don't see white on the,
This was 2025, so we have not pitched ours yet.
okay.
So there was about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 states, 9, 10 that don't have a rate case in front of them right now.
This was last year.
Yes, sir, sorry about that. Didn't get very good context there. All right, our residential electric bill compared to, residential bills have been about 37% below the national average over the past decade. Customer usage in PSCO, Public Service Company of Colorado, operating underneath Xcel, that's our business, versus other Colorado utilities is about 15% lower. One, due to DSM programs, but it also, let's be clear, we're regulated by the PUC. Black Hills, Holy Cross, Core, they can set their rates wherever they want them with the vote of a board, right? We have to go and defend our rate case increases to the Public Utility Commission.
What's DSM?
Demand side management. So it's your time of use stuff, you know?
What, sorry if you're gonna answer this in the next slides. We said rates are gonna go up. Here's how much below are you guys trying to get to national average? What sort of things projected to go up?
About $10 a bill per month. Per month. It's a lot. I mean, $120 a month adds up for some people, right? That can be a big hit. We understand that.
Blair, do you have any plans to have demand charges, like different rates during the day?
Yes, we do have different time of use rates.
Okay.
That's part of smart meters. Yep. Rich can probably speak to that better than I can. Yes.
This is great national data and statewide data. Are you able to get data on what Lake County residents are paying versus other communities? Because I think we've seen data that Lake County utility bills are significantly higher than national average. And so I think this is great statewide and across Excel's territory, but I don't know that it necessarily speaks to Lake County residents' experience.
I don't have that data, but I am happy to dive in and see if we can track it down. Yeah, absolutely, because I think that speaks to insulation and things like that, right? Yeah, exactly, like, and how can we bring some of that NPA, that non-pipeline alternative, up here into Lake County to help weatherize some of those homes and hopefully bring those bills down.
Richie, what was that map we were looking at the other day that showed the like utility burden per household?
I got that, I think that's my next slide. This is wallet share.
Where it was like you could see each county's burden, not.
There's a couple different sources that I've found that are maps of the energy burden and, so it'll give you data like, the average salary or the AMI for the county and then the average utility price for the county, and it's color coded. And Lake is actually, not doing nearly as, not nearly as burdened as like Costilla County and like Alamosa County, I believe, for some of those, but about twice what
We don't
Brush
serve them electric,
Right.
right? Their rates are higher. I mean, that is part of it.
Yeah, and a lot of it is based on, what the AMI is also.
Right, yeah.
Combination of both, yep.
But yeah, it's stark how much more the utility bill, what the energy burden is up here than, say, in the Front Range County.
I think this is our commitment. This is our commitment, is to keeping the wallet share at that 1%.
Tell us more about what is a wallet share.
A wallet share is how much of your dollar are you spending on rates, right?
Versus what?
Versus everything else that you pay for.
Okay.
And so we want that to stay around 1%. And what we're going to do, in order to make that happen, is we're going to expand our affordability programs.
We're going to European plugs.
Where are European plugs? Oh, yeah, I love it. I don't build these. No, that'll cost us a ton of money.
I know.
I think the big thing that everybody wants me to talk about here is the 10 million that the company and investors are committing to these affordability programs, knowing that $120 a year is a lot for some people on their bill, and that we need to find a way to help with that. So we are committed to doing that, but I don't wanna walk in here and pretend that rate cases are not on the table, because they are right now. I wanna be clear.
$10 million is not that much for a one-time contribution.
Nope.
Have you all taken a stance on Senate Bill 2? Which would force the fair rate, marginal cost rate?
I have not seen that come across my email, so I can't speak on it.
Okay.
I see a lot of bills come across my emails that we wanna comment on, but that's not one of them.
Okay.
Our big bill right now is the sunset bill. So that is the bill that requires, legislation, I should say, that requires every state department to go under review every, I think, 6 or 7 years, something like that. And this year it's the PUC. And so there's some things that are being recommended right now that we're pretty concerned about. The big one's securitization. We get it, that it looks horrible and that people don't love our executives with these huge bonuses and things like that. The reality with securitization is that, the best analogy I have for it, is that when you go out and try to, let me back up. Securitization is very, very tricky and very, very complex.
What is it? I don't know what securitization is.
I'm gonna do the best that I can
Okay.
to explain it, but it's very complex and I recommend you Googling it rather than taking my analogy for it. But it's essentially, it's a financing mechanism, right? And so,
Oh, securities.
mhm,
Got
and so it's how we finance, and it would be the PUC essentially limiting the amount of return on investment that we could potentially see in our investments. What's wrong with that, right? Why are we concerned about that? A number of reasons. When you go out to get a mortgage, right, you want the best rates out there. The way that you get the best rate, you don't get the best rates if you're like, hey, I had to break even every month. I don't have any extra income, but I swear I can pay this mortgage. It'll be no big deal, you know? You're not gonna get the best rates there. We have a responsibility to our ratepayers to go to Wall Street to get the best rates possible when we are borrowing billions of dollars to invest in our infrastructure. If we are at a break even, we're not gonna get the best rates. We also feel like there's an opportunity that this could slow the clean transition in Colorado, in the sense that if you are Bob Frenzel in Minneapolis, thinking about where to invest your money for the next 10 years, and you're not sure if you're gonna see the ROI in Colorado, you might put it elsewhere, right? So those are some of the challenges and the concerns that we have around securitization. We're recommending that they go from 3 commissioners to 5 commissioners. We are recommending that they hold the majority of their meetings in person. Currently, most of them are not held in person, and we feel that when billion-dollar decisions are being made, that people should be face to face. Yeah, those are the big ones.
Got it, thank you.
Yeah, all right, I'm right at time.
I did want to say that I got a real simple transfer switch installed and I just have a portable generator. Man, that makes a huge difference when you can, especially when you're on a well. So it's just the heater, the well, and the fridge, basically. It was about $2,000.
What do you use it for?
When the
Like,
power
in the
goes
power-
out, I have to pull my generator out, plug it into the little plug, start it up, and for some of those 12-hour, I don't know if there's some way you could encourage people or offer an incentive or just for people to know that, because when they think about a whole house generator, they think about $30,000 to $50,000 for an automatic Kohler.
Back to these programs, Blair, I'm
Yeah.
curious, what, if anything, Excel is doing for communities like Lake County to advocate for raising the point at which households qualify for a lot of the current assistance programs in the state. For example, bill payment assistance, you have to make below 80% AMI. It is virtually impossible to live in Lake County at that point. So for example, we've had numerous teachers and seniors in our office in the last month who cannot afford their utility bills, and we cannot assist them because they don't qualify for LEAP or bill payment assistance. And so I would love for some of these things you're talking about here to, be able to increase the number of households, especially in rural communities that would qualify.
Love that you bring this up. So through the Mountain Energy Project, and you guys have probably heard this on a couple of those calls, there is a pilot rate program that is scheduled to be rolled out. I don't know that it's rolled out yet, it's not rolled out yet.
Summer is what they're talking about it.
But I think that there's an opportunity for Lake County under that, because I think that that's exactly what that program is looking at, saying, look, it's more expensive in the mountains as it is. You want us all to electrify, how are you gonna help us with that? Because right now, if we all electrify, our rates are more expensive, not less expensive. That's something that is very true, like it is more expensive. And I don't want to pretend that it's not. I don't know who put that message out there that it's not more expensive. It is more expensive to pay for electricity than it is natural gas. It just is. So yeah, I think that that is where we're gonna have some movement and some traction there, and I really encourage you guys to push that in the non-energy, program calls. Yeah.
Okay.
I started 10 minutes late, so
No, we're not like tied to the time.
5 more minutes.
Blair, I heard recently that some people have started getting shut-offs from Excel for not paying their bills, and my impression was that that Excel hasn't done that until there's, we're out of
That's my
freezing
impression
temperatures.
too.
But we just had 3 recent, like this week.
Yeah.
And it's going to be freezing this week, so.
That's odd to me. If you want to pass along their my contact information, I can dig in,
That'd be great,
figure it out.
thank you.
There's some for your sideways poll.
Thank you, Blair.
I know, is there like, is that like a statewide thing that you start going to those folks who have not been paying their bills, and it's like a statewide, we're not seeing that temperature? Is that why it's so early, do you think?
It's a surprise to me.
We have no idea why.
Yeah, I have no idea why. It's not something that's been messaged to me.
Okay.
I'm surprised to hear it.
Okay.
So yeah, let me know and I can try to track it down.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I brought up the smart meter issue, because the smart meters, you can turn them off.
Mm-hmm.
Great, efficient, effective, but you don't have to like go to people's homes to actually knock on the door to make sure that they're receiving the notices. Like same with the ESPP.
EPSS, I know it's so,
Sorry.
no, it's so painful.
EPSS, same with that, where it's like, hey, you might not have the actual contact of the people who live there. And so it's like, I can see how it's more efficient for business, but it's also really harmful to the people who are experiencing the outage. So that's why I brought up the smart meter. It seems like effective for business, but not great for our community. I will reach out to you
I
and
think
make sure you know.
I get that that's a challenge and that that's not great for the community. I think
Yeah.
where the smart meters are great for the community is
Yeah.
with time of use.
For sure,
Where that is, I mean, pros and cons, right? But
totally.
yeah, let me dig in a little bit more to smart meters for you.
Yeah, I think with what Elsa's speaking to, I know the PUC passed a lot of regulations so that there are a lot of guidelines on when you can disconnect a household. I think just with the winter we've had, we did this winter for the first time this week experience days 24 hours where it did not fall below freezing.
Mm-hmm.
And so we did have households get disconnected, which is
I'm shocked by it,
allowable,
guys.
but it is usually we don't see it till July.
Again, I was not expecting to get this today.
Yeah, totally,
I
obviously.
have not seen any messaging around this, that we're going to change those dates or anything. So it does come as a surprise to me.
Yeah.
And if you want to come give these people my card, we'll get it figured out for them.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, awesome. Thank you, Blair.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have any other questions right now.
No, nor do I. Thank you, Blair. That was
No
very,
question for me.
Thanks for entertaining me, guys.
Thank
I
you,
really
Blair.
appreciate it very much, and I look forward to next time.
we really
Um,
appreciate you coming in.
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
updates. Something that everyone asked me about, and I'm like, I think it was the wind. So now I got more information.
I think understanding the difference between enhanced power safety settings
Yes.
and PSPS is critical, but then also understanding that the likelihood of losing power through a high wind event, even if we're not in PSPS, is also very high.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have my cell phone number, it's on that card.
Yeah.
Candace does a great job communicating, so thank you. Really
Thank you,
appreciate it,
Blair.
guys.
Take care.
Thank you.
Yep, you too.
Hey.
Moving on, I'm just gonna go grab my water
Yeah,
real quick.
what?
Sorry.
See you guys.
You guys, nobody wants to listen to y'all talk anymore.
I know.
Bye. A really brief break. Do you need me to pull any documents out?
As a presentation.
Okay, one moment, please.
Welcome back. Are we recording?
We're muted, sorry. Nope, we're unmuted, we're
Okay. Welcome back to the work session, March 24th. It's now 1:16, and item number 3 is overview and discussion regarding proposed fee increases for parks and recreation facilities to assist with rising operational maintenance and utility costs, led by Mr. Duncan Chisholm, Parks and Rec Director.
Good afternoon. So take you've read the memo, so I'll just run through.
You can escape for me so I can screen you, since we have people online, sorry.
Yeah, so I'm here today just to talk about some potential fee increases for our facilities. I just want to run through some of the reasoning behind that, some rationale around where we want to head to, and then talk through next steps around how that could happen and get some feedback on our thinking. So
You can use this. Sorry, everyone. I think you can just scroll down instead of clicking.
yeah, okay. Share that again. Yep.
Okay.
The gentle Duncan. Okay. So rationale for fee updates. We want to try and address some of the rising costs that we've been having. And budget constraints, you know, we believe we've been underpriced for a number of years. So we want to try and address some of that. Then modernising our fees aligns us more regionally with some of our neighbouring communities, balancing affordability for community groups. We also want to look at shifting to day pricing for a lot of our facilities. So at the moment we do it by the hour, which can lead to some conflicts. Can also help and clarify some of the rental terms. Sometimes there's crossover. Some people go over, some people go under, things like that. And again, yeah, as I said, trying to reduce our scheduling conflicts where we have them. Strategically, updating our fees helps strengthen our financial sustainability, enhances user experience of our facilities, and again helps support long-term facility investment. Just some background, we've been stagnant for a long time, and my staff who have been here the longest can't actually give me a date the last time fees were actually raised. And some of them have been here 10 or 12 years. So we all know across the county we've got increased operational costs, paying more for power, things like that, utility costs. We've got a disparity with our pricing. You know, when we should be comparable to our neighbouring communities, although they have a different level of service than we do. We are quite behind in terms of their cost recovery compared to what we could be. And again, continued fee stagnation limits our reinvestment in facilities, and it undermines our quality in their safety and their maintenance standards. So the more money we can try and recover, the more money we can then reinvest back into the facilities. So market and cost analysis, we've done some looking around our neighbouring communities. As I said, we're well below market standard for both indoor and outdoor facilities. We've got labour intensive areas like the ball fields and the rodeo grounds are underpriced relative to their maintenance and staffing costs. So it's costing us a lot more to maintain than we're bringing in revenue. Key facilities like 6th Street Gym have strong bookings depending on when, what part of the day, what time of the year, but they're consistent. And again, updating our prices helps us move more to our cost recovery gaps and supports upkeep and customer experience.
When you're mentioning relative to maintenance staffing costs,
Yep.
the maintenance staff for things like the ball fields and whatnot, are that housed in your department?
It's a mixed model. So we've got obviously the facilities and fleet department who do the majority of field maintenance, but from Parks and Rec we also bring in a number of mainly younger staff to help line the fields, do umpiring, maintain some real basic stuff.
But like repairs, obviously like repairs and stuff are gonna fall on public works.
Yes. Again, it's pretty mixed, right? So take the 6th Street Gym. My team organised the refinishing of the floor. It wasn't done through facilities. So
Your team refinished the floor?
we didn't do it. We
It was through their
organised.
budget.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So it's a bit of a case by case. So.
I'll bet that was expensive.
So.
Glad you dug in.
Then I will continue on, right?
We let him drive.
Yeah, exactly. So, in the memo, we presented some options and some suggestions around updating rental fee schedules. As I said, we want to look to move from hourly to daily. We also want to look at increasing non-profit rates, which again are discounted already for consecutive days. So if you hire a 6th Street Gym for more than one day, the second day is cheaper than the first, and so on. We want to look at adding potential new service fees. So at the moment, we do not charge for, let's say somebody hires one of the baseball fields, we do not charge for staff over and above initial marking. If it's a multi-day tournament, we just eat that cost of continuing to market. Again, that helps with transparency and ensures, accurate cost coverage. We're charging what it's actually costing us to maintain it. We also want to look at some sustainability functions around looking at an annual CPI increase as our costs go up, so should potentially our fee structure to reflect those costs. As I said, it's been a long time since we've even attempted to adjust fees, so we're quite behind in that area. So key category changes. 6th Street Gym, we used to have a recreational, we still do. We're proposing not to have a recreational rate. So the current rate is $6 an hour to hire that space for recreational people. We want to move that to a community rate of $25 an hour. I think that's still fair and reasonable. Again, most, in my experience, most people renting the gym are renting it with a group of people. So at $6, it doesn't matter if you've got one person or 20 people, it's still $6. So, again, increasing non-profit event rates, $250 a day. Increasing the floor covering rate, I think it's currently $100, $150, putting that up. Again, for parks, pavilions and fields, again, if you're using it for private use, increasing the field rate for private and non-profit rates. We don't really get too many commercial users of those things. Again, rodeo grounds, I think it's currently like $75 a day. You know, it's quite efficient and economic, and doesn't necessarily reflect the use, and doesn't reflect if there's an event happening there which charges to make money. We're only charging them $75. Again, we want to keep the parking lot fees the same, so most of the time our parking lots are rented out to things like the race series. So.
Yeah,
Why are you not? Sorry, go ahead.
Like a real world case example here, right? Like a group is going to set up their curling ice on the baseball field and use it for the winter. What does that fee look like now, and what does that change to?
So curling is probably not a great example because we share that service, right? So that's a joint program.
Okay.
So we're effectively providing the facility at no charge, taking all the registrations and then splitting the revenue with them because they run it on the night.
Got it, okay.
So I guess an example, let's just say over Boom Days there was a baseball tournament or softball tournament. You know, so at the moment they're effectively paying around about $100 per day.
Okay. Or like when they have a race and they put 50 or 150 tents on that baseball field, like something like that.
Okay, yeah. So again, it depends, right? So we would say the race is a for-profit event. You know, at the moment they would be paying $100 a day or $20 an hour.
Sorry, the race who uses the field is a non-profit.
Is it? Okay.
All the tents? Where they
One of the stage
camp?
races. Right.
No, it's a staged race, but it's Ride the Rockies. That's a non-profit.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry, I thought we were talking about the race here.
No, he's talking about all the tents on.
Yeah, I mean, just as an example, like I'm trying to figure out what the real world example of, okay, these people have been using this yearly, here's what they have traditionally paid, here's what they're going to go up to.
Yeah.
So we would be keeping, you know, the non-profit rate the same, to be honest. So $50 a day.
Duncan, how did you come up with the parking lot rates? Those seem very low, and you propose no change.
Yeah, again, this is based on recommendations from my staff. So this is what they've traditionally been. Again, we don't appear to rent them out that often.
Yeah.
So again, rather than price shock across the board, we've chosen which categories we think could move, you know, the easiestly. You know, happy to reconsider the parking lot fee if that's the board's desire.
Parking lots are expensive.
Yeah, they are.
I'd also love to know, like, okay, so with all of these changes, based on the amount of use for any of these spaces, what do you anticipate to earn and what would that go towards?
Yeah, I haven't done the figures completely on that yet, but, you know, the theory is that we would then reinvest that money. We don't make a lot of money on these facilities anyway, so.
It's also not easy to rent them.
Yeah,
So like part of it is making sure that people know what's available, what the
Yes.
fee structure is,
Yep.
right? I think that you could be renting all of these things. And there are people who do know how to rent, so like how much, they're not gonna go anywhere else, there's no market for them to go anywhere else. So we could know how much we could raise by the people who know about how to rent.
yes,
Yeah, how close do you think you are to knowing how much this would?
I can certainly come back to the board in a week or two with more accurate figures on what this financial impact would be in terms of the amount of revenue we would potentially raise.
That'd be great.
Yeah, based on, you know, let's take a couple of years back and how many rentals we've had, and we can forecast that out as an average.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Or even in the last year, I don't need you to go 3 years back personally.
yeah, happy to do that.
Just because we're still in COVID. Going 3 years back would still put us in
Yeah.
COVID, and I think there was too much change during that time to give us accurate data going forward. Sorry, what, Candace?
I think historically, we, staff, have gotten a lot of pushback about any suggestion of increasing rates. So I'd say we came to you with pretty,
Very conservative.
yes,
Yeah,
cause
I mean,
we've
just-
often gotten,
Just the other day at drop-in soccer, like Eric made this really awesome speech that was like, hey, we gotta prove that we're willing to pay for these facilities. And everybody seemed super on board.
yeah,
So I think that as long as the message is coming from trusted folks, people are gonna pay.
I think so too.
And again, like market,
Yeah,
this is
use
the
that.
cheapest by hundreds of percentage points for what people can I just don't think
Yes.
that I think there's a lot of room to raise certain rates in a way that does not price people out of the market,
Yeah,
for which there is no market for these facilities.
yeah, I agree, you know, we've offered really good value, just to say that.
Yeah,
With things like community field, it feels, doesn't it present problems to move to a per day pricing when there's so many things scheduled on that field in one day? Is everybody who is not community, we got nonprofit and private both only have options for full day rates? What am I missing there about like how that?
I think the reality is there's not too many third-party users,
Okay,
apart from us in the school district. You know,
so soccer's community, right? Like that gets, okay.
I mean soccer, there is no charge because it's put on by the rec
Run
department.
by the rec department, okay.
yeah, nobody
And
is.
the school district doesn't pay for it.
No, and they won't, going forward either, so.
Right,
Okay, alright, what I'm worried about is like making sure that we're
Oh.
not putting a
Yeah.
serious burden on locals here to make fun things for locals.
No, again, if somebody wanted to hire that for, let's say a soccer team was coming into town,
Yeah,
and they want to run their own practice, exclude the public from it, so they've got exclusive use of the field, yeah, they should then pay for that.
like does Challenger soccer camp pay for that?
I don't know. to be
They're
honest,
not,
Yeah,
I think.
yeah, and again, we've sort of partnered with them around promoting it, so, you know, I'll find that out.
Yeah. It's still cheap.
yeah, I'm still surprised that we don't get more out of area visitors for these facilities. Like especially with what we're considering for this summer, like do we have any kind of outreach or marketing to like the Front Range or Western Slope of like, hey, if you need to beat the heat and get your people somewhere where they can practice without dying in like 90-something degree weather, come on up for a weekend or a day or two, or, you know,
Well,
like,
that comes back to the
Yeah.
marketing, right?
Yeah,
It's like, nobody knows how to rent these places, you know,
Right.
you can text Felicia, which is awesome, she's super responsive, gets you in, but like, the person in the front
but
range,
Lakewood doesn't know that.
I don't think it's as easy.
No, and again, I think there's also a discussion here with Adam around how do we leverage our facilities, right?
Mhm.
You know, is there a market, for lack of a better word, for that,
With how hot
right?
the
For that
fundraisers
inbound,
These should be booked all summer.
team training, right? Yeah, I think there's an opportunity.
Yeah.
What kind of people and how often use the 66th Street gym?
So it is a mixture, right? So a lot of our programs run out of there. So we've got volleyball, some basketball practices and other things. Again, a lot of teams in the volleyball league will rent it outside of the competition time, the social drop-ins. It's the one facility where we have a lot of birthday party type activities for younger kids, because it's a communal space, right? Again, I still think there's potential where that facility could be utilised a lot more. Again, it comes back to Commissioner's point here of people knowing about it.
Yeah.
So we can do a better job of that, that's for sure. Again, most recreation centres will have a downtime, mainly sort of 9 AM to 3 PM, and then they will pick up their busy times, are usually 3 or 4 PM to 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock at night. It's the same anywhere. So there's always demand or more demand than we could probably cater for at that facility. But we can certainly look at ways we can fill up, right? For lack of better words. Because it is the one space, really, that people hire, for their kids' birthday parties. I don't think they can get into the schools for that type of activity.
How does the reporting or the discovery, I guess is the word I might be looking for, of like determining which users are just your average private recreational users, or when like a couple vans pull up to the skate park and there's all kids and obviously coaches, and you're like, where'd these guys come from? Who are these guys? Like, how does that?
Also, it's probably a bit of a judgment call sometimes, because again, we can only go on the information people supply to us when they fill out what they're renting it for and how many people are going to come.
Right.
Again, I'm sure there's cases where people have misinformed us about the potential use of the facility. But yeah.
Where would Huck Finn be under Parks and Pavilions?
Yeah.
Okay, and what about, can people rent out the Huck Finn warming hut and ice rink?
I think they can, I don't know if they have.
What would that be under, pavilions?
Yeah, I guess, some of these things we need to make a judgment call where they sit. Are they a park? Are they actually a facility? Are they a separate facility? I haven't come to any determination on that. I guess in terms of Huck Finn, the question would be when are they renting it out? Because technically during winter it's available for ice skating. We open that facility, hopefully when we have a decent winter, and reserve it for that. I'm going to assume there has been opportunity in cases where people have just utilised the building and not necessarily the ice rink.
I'm only wondering because when I think I want to approve this fee schedule, and I want you all to be able to start collecting more than you have been.
Yep.
But the bigger picture question that I think I'm I'm desirous to look at is what facilities do we have available that are available to rent? How much are we trying to make with those facilities? What is the actual market for those facilities? When would those facilities be available? Like the full actual rental program. This is fees, great, let's go. I'm gonna suggest raising a couple of those, but I think that I'd like to see how are we actually leveraging all of our facilities holistically? And fees are just a small fraction of that. Do you, same page?
Yep, totally agree, you know, again, it's also about having good data, right?
Mineral Belt Trail,
What about it?
well, like, is that a park?
Can't rent the Mineral Belt Trail.
But we do events on it.
I mean, those, you can't close it. You can run simultaneously with public access.
Right.
And I think you'd need a permit
Right,
through the county, but I don't think that was like a fee or a usage thing. I'm just going back to Blaze about, which is like 20 years
To
ago.
my understanding, when the funds were first raised, there was 25 year period where it had to be free. Whether that's still the case, I'm not.
so it's only a permitted thing if somebody wants to do an event? Like if the Mineral Belt Trail Committee wants to do an event, they submit a permit for the lot pit?
Well, probably a county permit, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I honestly don't know.
I don't either.
It sounds
It's probably a
embarrassing, right?
CBD thing.
Yeah, I'm just
Well,
wondering,
that's
in my
probably
mind,
the
that's like another rec
Yeah.
asset
Yeah.
that I don't
could
know
be
where
leveraging.
we're at in the 25 years, but like,
Yeah.
you know, I wanna
Yeah.
leverage everything I've got.
Again,
I wanna bring back Blaze Belt.
I do too,
my
and it
person,
needs
yeah.
to be available for people to understand how they can
How
use
it
it,
needs to happen.
which is part of the actual, we can have all these fees, but if nobody knows how to do it, it doesn't matter. And we can't increase
I
our
don't
usage.
think, hey, we'd have to start from scratch. You know, I don't think we could run things how we used to run things from a exposure risk standpoint.
Oh, totally, no, don't worry, I'm not saying we should go back to that.
Okay.
I'm saying in the holistic approach of Parks and Rec,
Yeah.
of pros.
Yeah.
Pros, like any of our other facilities, like the landfill, like the airport, there needs to be a little bit more of like carrying your weight, not your weight, Duncan, you know, like the department's impact on our budget. And so part of that is really leveraging all of these assets that have a market value and kind of running with that.
On a sort of side note, have you ever seen what was termed the financial sustainability strategy for Parks and Recreation?
Was that in the rec plan, the pros master plan?
No, I don't think it was, right? So again, this is a piece of work which was done in 2022. And to my knowledge, was never adopted or approved by the board. And it was only done for Lake County Recreation Department, as it was called at that point. So it didn't include any outdoors leisure activities, didn't include any, you know, open spacey type things. So again, it's a model of where our potential cost recovery could head. So I've been looking at this and thinking about how I bring this back to you as a board, as an official adoption piece, so we actually have a strategy going forward around what our cost recovery targets are and how we move in that direction.
You want us to approve this? Adopt this?
Look, I just tabling this today just to show you, right? And, yes, at some point in time, I'll be bringing back a report about what this is, why it's important, what it actually means.
I mean, I get this, but
Yeah.
this is clear, I mean, like, we would provide services all across that to have a diversified
Yeah.
funding stream, right?
Yes, yep. And it depends what the activity is, and
And time of year and
yeah, where it lands on
facility
the
and-
continuum.
yeah,
What our, cost recovery, target for that particular type of activities. So at the moment, we haven't, this hasn't been adopted, it was presented to the previous board, but I couldn't tell you what happened after that.
I mean, this doesn't seem like a thing I would adopt. This isn't a thing. This is just a model.
Yeah, it's about, well, again, there's a policy behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just to give you some thought of where my head's heading and, how we improve our financial sustainability here, so.
Nice.
Questions?
I'm gonna suggest some increases.
Yep.
Under parks and pavilions for-profit and nonprofit, those did not receive a suggested increase. I'm gonna suggest an increase by $100 for for-profit and $50 for nonprofit.
Okay.
100, 200?
You can. And for rodeo grounds, are we no longer doing private non-events? Is
No.
that what that suggestion is? So no longer doing private non-events, you're either for-profit or nonprofit.
So again, most of the people who are utilising that, let's think about the events which utilise it, so the ski joint would be an example. Anybody who wants to store their horse there.
The rodeo?
Yeah.
And that, I mean, the nonprofit seems really low to me still. $200 for maintenance to come out and like clean things up, move all of the stands around, bleachers. $200 doesn't cover it. I think I'd rather see it for $300 for nonprofit, back up to $500 for for-profit, because why would we decrease rates for for-profit? Just because nobody's using it, doesn't mean that it's because of the price.
Yeah.
Well, and I earnestly think that the condition of it could be improved by us charging enough to actually take care of it, because that's been one of the
Are there
biggest.
any examples of nonprofits using the rodeo grounds?
Yeah, so.
Yeah, for
the
C.
the actual
For-
rodeo itself.
Those
For
are
H.
both nonprofits.
Sorry, we're H.
Right, yeah, technically.
All the Cs, we're like,
Yeah, 5013C.
And ski joining's a nonprofit. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so nonprofit, $300, for-profit, $500.
Cool. Yep.
And then the parking lots for private and for private. Why would we have a private? I guess you could have a birthday party in a parking lot.
Like, it's hard to think of an example off the top of my head, but let's say somebody was renting out or hiring a baseball field, do they need exclusive access to that parking lot as well?
Yeah. Okay, so I would say, oh my gosh, private to me would be $100, for-profit $200, nonprofit $100.
and this is for someone to reserve a parking lot for the whole parking lot
Yep.
for the entire
For the
day,
whole
for
day.
$25?
Yeah.
Bro,
So 100, 200, 100. Okay.
Cool, because at the moment, I believe we've got cases where some events hire it out, play series.
Yeah.
Other events don't hire it out, but still utilise it.
So that's a contracting thing you guys need to tighten up too, right? When you rent this, you have to rent this concurrently or not, or if you don't, it's half the price of the rental anyway.
Like I'm an automotive company wanting to film a car commercial. I need this whole parking lot to
Staging.
park my
Mhm.
boom trucks and my concept cars and everything in this, and it's $25.
Are
Mhm.
there any instances of private companies charging a fee to park there, like a circus?
I don't know, yeah, I personally don't know about that, but maybe in the past there has been, certainly in my time there.
Wasn't that where the circus was years ago?
Yeah, good memory, Matt. Yes.
And it gets, yeah, the question does become what happens when somebody has an event, rents the parking lot and then charges for parking.
Right.
That's for profit,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Same with
I-
any facility.
If they're getting charged a certain amount and they're making $5,000.
And that's probably what was happening with these events.
Well, that could also be like a subcategory. It's like if you're charging for this parking, then you pay this base rate and then you pay an additional 50% of profits from that, from those rentals. That's, okay, and then I'd also like to see, so Duncan, any of that I also wanna see.
Sure.
And then I also wanna see all of your, I don't know if this is something that we approve, but the additional fees for like striping,
Yeah,
renting an umpire, you know, like.
that's where I need to sit down with the maintenance team and say, okay, what are the actual hourly labour costs, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not coming from my department.
You guys aren't doing the stripe?
Well, sometimes we are, sometimes we
Yeah.
aren't, but, so,
Okay.
we need to come up with an actual charge for this particular service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then you can actually market it. And then we actually get money from it. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, it sounds like there's like an à la carte list of services that the rec department and or maintenance could be and does perform, and let's get those in front of us too.
Because I'd love to come back to you once a year with our fee schedule across the board. This is for programs, for pilot facilities. Once a year, you approve it as part of annual budget cycle. And we set, but we're not quite there yet. This is the first discussion on this. You know, how do we move to that sort of scenario?
Great.
Cool, appreciate it. Any other questions, queries, things which I've, simply don't know about or have overlooked,
Can you just remind us what's on your list so we can see if there's anything we
So,
would overlook?
the only other thing we talked about was thing, right? Because that's not listed, so we need to think about how that fits into the schedule. What is it? Okay. And again, it also depends how deep you want to go, right? So let's say somebody wants to hire a skate park. At the moment, there's no real way to do that.
Right.
The Dalai Lama Memorial Skate Park?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's coming.
It's
Well, I
coming.
could see if someone was gonna have a competition there.
Yeah.
For a team to come over from somewhere and have to rent the park. I don't know, man, that doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
I know people that have had like birthday parties
Yeah.
at skate parks and stuff too, so that's what I was thinking.
I mean, it's kind of like anybody using access to a county asset, like our OHV, for example. If a coach is coming over and they're providing private lessons, to be making money on public lands, you're supposed to have a permit or something.
That's where I'm at.
And so that's the difference for the skate park. Like, yeah, if it's like a rec department, but different from like a private coaching lesson. Rec department with rec and we have an agreement, it's like, yeah, you can totally come bring your crew up. Versus, oh yeah, you wanna go teach people how to skateboard, but you wanna use our facility without any cost and you don't even live here.
Yeah, you're
No,
charging.
you're making money on our facility. We don't do that anywhere
If
else.
you're paying, you're probably excluding the general public at that point too, right?
Yeah.
You're renting a facility.
It comes down to exclusive use.
That's another question, whether you.
No, I
Right,
mean,
that's different.
I've seen definitely like groups at the skate park where you know these are like paid kids with coaches and they just show up. There's no one's closing anything down, no one's,
Yeah, it
you
can
know,
also.
they roll up in 2 or 3 identical vans and it's just a gaggle of kids and all the coaches are wearing the same shirt with, you know, maybe it would say Woodward Copper on it, maybe, you know. So I'm not sure. I know there used to be an agreement between certain groups similar to Woodward or things like that with the county, but I don't know if that's a thing anymore.
Well, college teams come and ski the Mineral Belt from Wyoming and,
Yeah,
I don't know.
but I guess, the question becomes, are they wanting just to use it versus actually wanting to keep other people off it while they use it?
Well, it's different, a college team, different from like a guide,
Like Woodward.
like Woodward, a for-profit entity.
Yeah. Again, I think I want to take this slowly,
Yeah.
incremental, right? And we're not going to get everything right first time. And I think that's why we have a yearly review of this. What's working, what isn't working? What do we need to do? What's the feedback? Right? 'Cause it's always going to be people, again, I'm just, we're concerned about sticker shock sometimes as well. A massive increase in price.
Right.
People panic a little bit.
Wait till they go to the dump.
Yeah. And also I think the difference is that like Sixth Street Gym is the only one that people are using constantly.
Yeah.
Where there will be sticker shock.
Yeah.
But even there, I think everybody is like,
A ton.
this is nuts.
Yeah.
I'm paying $6,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I know this should not be allowed.
Yeah. Again, I'm just trying to get some figures at the moment around, what the precise utility costs are, right?
Sure.
Is it, for example, we charge $6 an hour, but it costs $7 an hour to power it, like,
Probably more than that.
Yeah.
need to do that detail.
Yeah.
So when are you doing
Cool, I think it's a real good start, I appreciate, your input and support, because
Thanks, Duncan.
moving
Thank
things is difficult. We'll come back
We're
with some
overdue.
revised figures, right?
Great.
And whether we come back for another workshop or whether we come back with an actual resolution, the next question is when would you want to implement this? I've arbitrarily picked out 1st of July, which is midway through our fiscal year. Sort of a little bit different.
I don't care when you implement it.
Yeah.
I think we should pass it as soon as possible so that you can implement it as is appropriate. And my instinct would be as soon as you all are capable.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Again, I've chosen July to give us some room to inform our current clients.
And then like from a business perspective, it's sort of like we look at what the changes, the actual effects were, dollars and cents wise, how that gets allocated, whether it makes sense to put some of that into marketing to try and keep the ball rolling and growing it bigger, but
Maybe before race season.
Well, have their permits already been approved?
Yeah.
No.
And again, there'll be people who, we're gonna book it for today's price and we'll have to honour that, so.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you, Duncan.
Thank you, Duncan.
Appreciate it.
thank you.
You gotta escape on that keyboard for me.
I know where that button is. I do.
Oh, so good.
Thanks, everybody.
Losing my
Thank you,
peripheral
sir.
vision.
Oh, we still have 2 more topics.
I know, I was like, what? I was,
If
I
only
was
there's a window.
experiencing a health scan for a second.
Oh, jeez. Alright.
Moving on, it's 2:00, item number 4, legislative updates led by Political Advocacy Incorporated. You guys are ready, we are. You're ready when you are.
Thanks, Duncan, see you.
Sorry, let me get on camera there. Hi, everyone. Can't, the slide's perfect. In case you're wanting to know how glamorous this job is, I am coming to you from the tops of trash cans because that's how we're able to find spots to talk.
Dumpsters in the alley?
At least you're in the basement, right?
Yeah.
Is it cooler down there?
Yes, it is. Yeah. I know this weather is crazy.
Well, much respect, thank you for accommodating us from the
Yeah,
lids of trash cans.
of course. So we want to give you an overview of where we're at. A lot of this conversation is going to center around budget. That is what everyone is freaked out about. And so I will let Alan start that off with some of our budget conversations. Go ahead.
Thanks. We can go to the next slide. This is just kind of an overview, just so you're all aware. We're over halfway through the session. About 455 bills have been introduced. This is pretty typical for this time of year. That's usually where we're at. It's usually end up somewhere around the 600 bill range. Most of that legislation is still somewhere in the process. So even though we're halfway through, there's still a lot out there, and they continue to introduce bills every day. A lot of the bills are just waiting in the appropriations committees, and they'll sit there until after the budget is passed. We're starting to get really long floor fights, particularly in the House. And then we'll probably see a lot of late nights for the rest of session. Next slide, please. So the state budget continues to deteriorate. We got an updated revenue forecast last week on Thursday that shows that the JBC still has at least about $1 billion to cut in order to get to the balanced budget. The JBC did choose the more optimistic of the two forecasts. Shocker there. Their own legislative council staff showed that they had more like $1.5 billion still to cut. They went with the governor's office forecast, which shows that if they just approve all of their proposed cuts, the budget will be imbalanced. This still includes some really controversial items. That includes the $400 million sale of Pinnacle. And then the governor's office shows that they made an overpayment of about $300 million in TABOR refunds. So whether they're able to claw some of that back is yet to be seen. The JBC continues to meet. That's where I am, over here in the Legislative Services Building. They have the goal of introducing the budget within the first week of April. So a lot of big decisions still to be made for that to be able to happen. Next slide, please.
And Alan, I'd just double down a little bit. So far, the Joint Budget Committee has been punting a lot of the cuts. As you know, they haven't determined exactly what's going to happen with provider rates. There's a lot of county decisions that are still hanging out there. The reorganization of those different entities that HICPUF had provided, and so. At some point, they're going to have to start cutting here soon and actually getting down to the heart of the budget. On top of that, really wanting to emphasize what Alan just laid out, which is they are forecasting on funny money right now. I think the likelihood of this Pinnacle sale bill going through is really low. It still hasn't been introduced. There still hasn't been a draft out there. And Pinnacle has an approved ballot initiative to do this process outside of the legislature. So counting on that $400 million to come in seems like poor government, frankly, in terms of the budgeting process right now, in addition to the $300 million out there that they're trying to claw back. So it does feel like they are about to, like the rubber is going to hit the road here soon, because there is more than $700 million that they are out of whack right now.
Elizabeth, can we just pause here for a second? The $300 million TABOR refunds, what was the tool they used for those refunds? And was that from just last year, or is that from multiple years?
I don't know if it's just last year or not. Alan, do you know the answer to that one?
It was it's the 2024 year. And this is when we had really large Tabor surpluses. So this would have gone to things like the homestead exemption, some of the veterans programs that they do, and then refunds directly back to taxpayers.
Wouldn't those exemptions have already been put on all of everyone's books?
Yeah, that's the issue here. I don't know what mechanism they're wanting to use to get this money back. Like Elizabeth said, we're balancing on funny money. The accounting that they're doing is really wacky.
And then do you all know how that's gonna change the Tabor cap? Like if the $300 million was refunded to the taxpayers through whatever mechanism, are they actually fixing the Tabor cap then, or because it was paid back, it's done?
There won't be any changes to the Tabor cap, but we're also not in Tabor refund land anymore. That's how bad the budget's gotten. So we won't be in a Tabor refund territory for the next couple of years, probably.
Alan, I'm sorry, I'm trying to understand Tabor, so give me a second. My understanding was that the next year's Tabor cap is calculated based on the previous one.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, so if they miscalculated that, did they miscalculate the Tabor cap, or did they refund more than they were supposed to?
Yeah, they're saying that they refunded more than they had to.
Okay, so the Tabor cap is still intact.
Yes.
Great, thank you. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So on this slide, just a couple of the things that we've been watching and keeping staff up to date on. There was the proposed cuts to local public health agencies. The CDPHE requested a $3 million cut. The JBC only approved a $1.5 million cut. So that's maybe a little bit of good news. However, they'll probably have to revisit this for balancing purposes, seeing as they have a lot of cuts that they still need to make. We've also been watching the proposal for regionalization over a bunch of the county administration processes for SNAP and TANF. It seems like the new proposal from CDHS seems to be on a better path than it was before. The JBC seems to think that there is a lot more county buy-in and that they're collaborating better. We did check with your staff to just make sure they were on that same page, and they agree cautiously, I think. So there may be a bill that comes for this year. JBC staff has said that they should just revisit this during the interim, but JBC seems to be optimistic that they can get something done this year. And then there is a bunch of policy changes have been proposed for TANF, including the removal of the annual basic cash assistance adjustments, elimination of the requirement that you offer extensions, eliminating the reserve minimums for both the state and county, and that requirement that the general fund backfill those TANF reserves. The JBC just got this proposal in front of them really late in the game. They decided not to take any action. They want to mull it over a little bit, just because there's a lot to unpack in this proposal. But as you can see on these three things that we've been watching, no decisions have really been finalized. So a lot of work to go over here at the JBC. But happy to field any other questions you guys have on this.
What is the 60-month maximum extension for TANF?
The 60-month maximum, it's a federal rule, but in Colorado, there are extensions that can be approved in circumstances, the way that I understand it, and I might not understand that completely right.
Candace, do you have someone on staff that can answer that more clearly? And if not, we will dig into that and follow up.
Yeah, I can do that. I'll have to follow up though with you guys.
That'd be great to understand, thank you.
All right, and we wanted to visit some of the policy items that we've been discussing with you for legislation, so we can go to the next slide. You all took a support position. This is the continuation of the child care contribution tax credit. This is coming from leadership in both chambers, so it is going through, and it'll extend the child care contribution state income tax for another 10 years beginning in 2028. And I assume that you all just kind of wanted an update that was still moving through the process and going well. Great. Next slide, please. House Bill 1037, we have taken a amend position, as have the other county associations. It has gotten stalled. I think that they're having a really hard time with negotiations on this. It is constantly been laid over. It's been heard, but it hasn't even gotten out of House Judiciary just yet. People are having a very hard time with a bill that has Representative DeGraff as a sponsor on it, I think. No huge updates for you all. We don't have amendments to share just yet, but once we do, we'll get those over to staff so that they can vet those. But right now, this bill has a pretty tough path in front of it. Next slide, please. House Bill 1119, just wanted to revisit authority for different mill levy rates. This is a bill that is very concerning to a number of counties, school districts, anyone who relies on mill levies. And of course, the assessors and the treasurers don't even know how they would implement and do this. Right now, the bill is stalled. It hasn't even had its first hearing in committee. And you'll recall that I don't know, I lose time down here, but 2 years ago, we had the property tax task force that put together recommendations that went into a special session when they made changes to property taxes. This idea came up and the entire task force voted it down. So there is also a letter that is circulating from those property tax task force members opposing this as well. But wanted to open it up for questions. Alan, it had gotten calendared for April, but then it came off the calendar. I don't know if it's back up, but it feels like this bill is likely to get PI'd in the first committee at this rate.
I don't remember discussing this or how it pertained to us.
Sure, I don't think we have yet. So would love
Okay.
to see if you guys want to take a position on this one. It allows for you to differentiate between property tax rates. I think it could cause if a local government did choose to do this, it would cause a lot of confusion internally among your citizens, because it would make your mill levy rate information very not very transparent. And it would really complicate the system. But Candace, I don't know if you have someone there that wants to speak to some of the more details. I know from our understanding, like I said, with assessors and treasurers, they don't even know how they would do this.
Right.
Yeah, I don't, it's me, and I think it would be nuts.
Disaster.
I just think that would be a disaster for us to attempt to do.
I mean, you
at
can
this
see,
juncture.
you can see who's opposing it. That's a pretty wide range of
Yeah.
philosophies.
Yeah, there's a
So you
Yes,
can tell,
that's why we wanted to point that out.
this is not good for governance in any county.
We already can barely do. I know.
Let's not complicate what we're doing already.
Yes.
We just messed up our basic mills.
Oh my
So,
goodness.
so no, thank you.
Can we register you all as an oppose on this as well?
I would oppose it.
Great.
Me too.
I think Climax would appreciate us opposing this.
I think so
Sounds like a
too.
hoot, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right, we will get that handled and added to the opposition group.
Cool, thank you.
And we can go to the next slide. House Bill 1127, we were asked to bring this forward. We have been engaged in talking about this bill behind the scenes for a little bit with your internal team because there were some rumors floating around that this bill was necessary because of a lack of information coming from Lake County. We were able to get to the source and say that is not the situation, that Lake County is getting their information out in a timely manner as and kind of put a kibosh on that rumor that was going around. But my understanding is that the coroner does agree with this bill. We just wanted to make sure that the necessity for it wasn't blamed on Lake County. Candace, does
Well,
that all
thanks.
align with our previous conversations?
Yeah.
Thanks for sticking up for us.
Yeah. Of course. And thank you to your team to get us that information so quickly so we could tackle that. Would you all like to take a support position on this or just kind of lay low and continue to keep our heads down?
Yeah.
I'm fine
Great.
not taking a position.
Great. All right. And next slide. Extreme temperatures work protections. We keep this on your list. As you'll recall, this was the bill that came forward last session as well. It was pretty aggressive in its mandates last session. And there were some workers within unions in Lake County that were part of putting the bill together. It came back this session, and it's kind of what you see a lot of times is when a bill isn't successful, they'll come back and say, well, let's collect data and have a task force. And then they try to build the momentum to have this go forward. It is a much more narrow bill than it was last time around because it is just collecting that data and putting together potentially a model plan. We think that this still has a tough way to go because right now, anything that has any kind of an appropriation, given where the state budget is going to have a hard time in getting the money to fund it. So our advice is to keep this on your watch list just because it is something that, it's you all can't control the weather up in Lake County and in Leadville. And so there are a number of employers that keep an eye on this conversation. As of right now, we think it'll probably stall in appropriation. So I don't know that you guys have to get out in front of it unless you really felt strongly on taking a position.
I'm a little bit torn on whether to just not take a position or oppose this again, because this just seems like a disaster for winter-based recreation in general. Like, how does the ski area keep their employees from being affected by this when?
I mean, hasn't this been pared down significantly from last year to now just be collecting data as opposed to mandating certain temperature ranges and
Yes.
actions that you need to take? So
collecting data and having a plan. Yep.
But there isn't the same temperature range, right, Elizabeth? Like,
Correct.
this isn't actually mandating what employers do. This is kind of like the first step to see, well, how many injuries do we have? What kinds of injuries do we have related specifically to temperature? So that's why I personally like this bill such as it is now. This is not what it was a year ago, which definitely would impact our agricultural, ranching, ski industry, employers. This is just about making sure that the data is being collected and
But
some work is
who's
done.
responsible for reporting? Who does it? Just sounds like extra layers of cost and burden to businesses.
I agree, more regulation, more paperwork, and more cost. Imagine a small construction company having to suddenly record every temperature.
Spreadsheets
if someone's, I don't know. You say, Elizabeth, that it's probably stall out because that CDLE, that'll cost them money to collect the data. Anything that costs them is difficult.
Yeah, and I think a lot of groups are waiting to see if this actually gets out of appropriations or not before they really make a stance and take a position.
Yeah.
And they will probably have to pare this down even more because they'll need to get that fiscal note to 0. Right now it still has a little bit of a fiscal note. And I don't know how they do that with
Well, they're
keeping the
probably
goal of their bill. So
they may try and transfer that burden to the employers. Mandatory reporting or something.
I mean, that's already, you legally have to report all injuries on the job already. This just makes sure that you're collecting the temperature aspects of those injuries. Right, Elizabeth? Or Ellen?
So employers would not have to submit this data. This would be like a voluntary link on CDLE's website where like the employee could report their
Report.
injury and say that it was temperature related.
Oh,
That introduces different problems.
Yeah, I'd like to hear from somebody who's really for this, whether it's a union or something. Tell me if it's a law in search of a problem. I've never heard of anybody getting hurt by the weather. When your body will tell you, like, get inside, or I don't know. It seems
I'm sure there's situations where there are employers telling their staff, oh, I don't care how cold it is, you gotta get your butt out there and get this job done.
or how hot it is.
And vice versa. But I don't, it's I don't know how bad, yeah, I can see both sides of this, I just don't know how just a voluntary reporting addresses the issue when you're only dealing with such a small sample size. It could skew the larger results to a degree that it's not even accurate anymore if it's just voluntary reporting.
well, it's gonna compel somebody to take some training, develop the training standards in a model plan. So the government's gonna do that, and I feel like employers are better suited to do that on their own.
So, so let's pretend that the issue is that workers are experiencing extreme temperature injuries. We can assume that like
Frostbite or
Frostbite?
heat stroke.
heat stroke, sunburn, whatever, I don't know. But we have people who have been laboring in extreme temperatures for the entire history of this community, of this country, right? Let's assume that the reason that this was created is because there are temperature-related injuries happening that aren't being dealt with or managed by employers.
That's a pretty far-fetched assumption. I mowed lawns in Denver in multiple 100-degree days, and we just dealt with it. It's I don't know.
I don't know, but I'm
Seems
just saying,
onerous to me.
let's say that that is
Okay,
true,
we're
because
gonna
we don't
assume-
know.
We're gonna assume that you, go ahead with your premise.
What solution should the legislature bring forward to solve that issue?
If you're being forced to work in 100-degree temperatures without adequate hydration, shade breaks, anything like that, isn't there a regulatory body you can report that to? Like, hey, I'm being mistreated at my job.
Well, I think this is what
Like-
creates that.
That already exists, doesn't it? Like, that's
Who, HIPAA?
OSHA or, whatever, like.
OSHA, yeah. I don't know, I don't know enough about this to answer y'all's questions, but I am making some assumptions that like, yes, there is a labor force out there that is not properly treated, and maybe who can't go to some of those regular OSHA, don't feel comfortable going to those OSHA compliances, or maybe they're just trying to see, are there any of these industry injuries? Are there enough of them to even make a plan
Right.
to deal with it? This seems more to be about data collection,
Or
and
it's almost like you could sue your employer.
this is not what that's,
I know, no, but I'm saying like, that what exists right now is if you're being forced to work in conditions that are not safe, they're basically gonna crush you. And you're like, hey, I need more breaks, I need to be able to warm up before I get frostbite, and you suffer because of it in a way that's measurable or provable. pretty sure you have a decent lawsuit on it, you know, the case against.
But that assumes a lot of privileges and resources, the ability to sue. I think what my understanding of this is that they're trying to actually change, like, a lot of these folks won't ever get that from their employer. And so they're just trying to change the industry so that they can cover everybody as opposed to these one-offs of folks who do have the privilege or the resources to.
I don't know, I think it's onerous, it's another thing that's another layer that, you know, businesses are gonna have to comply with, and I just don't like it. I don't think it's necessary. I think it's a big bugger.
How about if we keep it on the list and keep updating you and revisit, depending on what happens in the appropriations committee on this?
That sounds good, thank you.
Because right now it's, you know, there's a lot of bills that are going to just not move forward because they cost the state money and the state doesn't have any. And so I think it makes sense to see what amendments they do in order to potentially move this out of appropriations, or if it even gets called up again. And then we can revisit with what that bill looks like more thoroughly when it has a path.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, cool. Next, we'll get over to some Senate bills. We wanted to update you on Senate Bill 40 on the next slide. This is Commissioner Tharp came down and testified on this, and she got to see firsthand how there is no time logic. This is a casino. We don't have clocks, we don't have windows, and you never know when something's going to happen. So it didn't come out at the time we were hoping, and she headed home and did it from her car. So, but got good FaceTime with the legislators. Unfortunately, the one no vote on this so far has been our state representative, our state senator Baisley, but everyone else has been voting no as this goes through or voting yes as this goes through the process. It did get through appropriations and is waiting to be heard on the Senate floor, and then we'll do this all over again in the House, and would love to have any of you testify on this as it moves through the House, since we have specific projects in Lake County that are impacted by changes in the Prop 123 money. So wanted to give you guys an update on where that is. And then the last one we were asked to put on the list is Senate Bill 70 for discussion. So this is getting a lot of airtime on news and other resources, and is referred to as the flock camera bill. So a lot of those flock cameras that are being used by different local governments are recording data, and there's a fine balance. There's a bill that's going to go through the system right now too on using cameras near school areas. There's a balance between wanting to make sure we don't have too much big government, and a lot of this coming from immigration rights advocates that want to be careful of how people are being tracked, especially around local government buildings, around schools and others. But balance that against wanting to make sure we're keeping the community safe and using resources we have to be able to track those individuals who are having criminal intent. And so that's part of the debate that has been going back and forth on this. It was a lively committee hearing. Most local governments have felt that this has erred too far in the wrong direction of making it so our communities are going to be unsafe from schools, from other local governments. And again, this is another bill that is stuck in appropriations committee right now. We think it's unlikely that it's going to move forward. Given the appropriation, and two, given the amount of opposition. We have that opposed position, but just wanted to kind of update you guys. It doesn't look like it's going to be moving at this point out of appropriations, but if it does, we will revisit the conversation of how to show up and strategize with you all on that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Thanks.
Yeah, and that runs us through the list we have. And I think we have taken up our allotted time, but happy to answer any other questions you all have.
Elizabeth, what about, I think it's Senate Bill 002? It's the Oh, just a second, let me find it. It's the one that compels energy sellers like Excel to participate in the low income, like energy, it flexes the amount of, it sets a base rate for the base amount of energy used for low income households. So it kind of institutionalizes these like voluntary programs that they're setting up as one-offs. I'd love to hear from you all in the future about that.
Great. We will gather up some information and send that out to all of you on that bill. It has moved a little bit through the process. It's had some amendments. It is also waiting in appropriations committee, but the amendments took off the appropriations. So we will do some background and send you a little update on it.
Awesome, thank you so much. Yeah, it's.
Of course.
I think that's the right one.
Hey, Elizabeth, can I ask about, House Bill 26-1063? It is looking at the permitting of secure transport coming off of county's plates and going back to the state. Could you, and you don't have to do it right now because I'm putting you on the spot, could you let me know where that stands and if we think it's likely to move forward or not?
Yeah, that I have an update on that.
Great.
They did add that to the bill. Right now, the governor still doesn't like that piece. But they added that to at least get the conversation started. I think that conversation might move out of this bill, and they'll continue to talk about it over the interim. But I'll double check and let you know, Candace.
Okay. Thank you.
You guys, what are the chances of 1036, the local taxes on vacant residential property?
I got tabled.
It got crushed.
Indefinitely.
Okay. Anything you see that is likely to get through that we should be aware of? Or is it just too early in the process, considering the budget?
Yeah, the budget throws a big wrench into things. We have to kind of see where that balancing happens. In past years, usually what they do, we lovingly refer to it in the lobby as sprinkles, where the Joint Budget Committee will set aside some money. They sprinkle some money out that each chamber gets to play with and then prioritize what bills they want to use that money for to get them through appropriations. Those sprinkles have gotten smaller and smaller over the last couple of years. In previous years, they were enormous because they would use ARPA dollars. But it doesn't feel like there's going to be much spread out for any bills that cost money in appropriations committee right now. So it's looking unlikely that anything will move forward. But when the Joint Budget Committee puts a placeholder of what that dollar amount is for each chamber, then we have a better idea of what could possibly happen.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. We appreciate your time. And Candace, we will be in touch with some of those follow-up items.
Perfect. Elizabeth
Awesome.
and Alan, I'm so sorry. Did you all get my email about the testimony notes? I know I sent it kind of late for the Prop 123 amendment.
Let me pull those back up. I might have gotten that lost in my email
Yeah,
for
I'm not
a
sure.
potential change.
Okay. Yeah, it was all the testimony I was gonna do, but then learned that's not when you actually give suggestions.
Sounds like a mess.
Yes, we will double check with staff on that and have those conversations for the floor.
Okay, thank you so much.
Awesome.
You mentioned to let you know if we would be willing to testify again on this if it comes up. The House Bill Prop 123.
Senate Bill 40.
Yeah. Yeah, reach out to us, like let us know as much ahead of time as possible because yeah, maybe more than one of us would be willing to go down.
Great. And we'll see if the sponsors are open to some of those adjustments that you had emailed about, Commissioner.
Thank you. I'm happy to talk more about them with whomever.
Great.
That's all I have.
Yeah, thank you guys. Good luck down there.
Thank you. Thanks, team.
Great, thanks.
Bye.
Get off that trash can.
Bye.
It's crazy down there.
I just peed that you were done a little bit early. Thank you.
No, that would be awesome.
It's now 3 p.m. and item number 5 of our Lake County Board of County Commissioners work session is overview and discussion.
Sorry.
Hold please. I don't know who that is, sorry. I thought that was us.
Get it? Capture it?
That's weird.
That's weird, I don't know who that is.
I don't either. Okay,
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, everything good?
well, it's weird, we were not muted there, this audio button, but both of these were muted, so
I mean,
someone was
anyone
letting
could
us know we're muted.
Make a profile that just has that picture and that thing on there, so
Okay,
maybe it's.
Okay, good to go there?
yeah.
Sure.
Suppose so.
Goes to the machine.
Weird as.
Well, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So discussion on just general security of the courthouse. As you guys know, we're focused on the courtroom itself, and the security up there. So we have 2 court security deputies. They're both currently post-certified. It is nice to have them post-certified, so if they have to make an arrest, they have those authorities built in. We've explored placing security down here before. If you guys recall, there was a machine placed between the doors. It didn't go over very well with the fire marshal for egress reasons to occupy one of our egress doors. And some of the other issues that we had with this too is just how big that space is. So if we have any sort of event, let's say it's a major trial, or in the elections, or we have a very popular topic in your office here, and holding people up through this section here was something that we didn't experience, because we didn't have it in full effect quite yet, but it's just something to keep in mind. It's like in our winter months, having a line outside the door waiting to come in and go through security presented an issue, so the building wasn't really built for this. Which is really the issue that we have with a lot of things here, is this building wasn't designed for some of the security elements, the flow of inmates, as we talked before, nothing was really designed. So we're trying to fit a lot of these different components into a building that wasn't designed for it. So today I was just really hoping to have a good discussion with you guys, see where you're sitting with what you want. We can talk about what my comfort levels are today, maybe in the future, and just kind of see what your vision is with that. We can talk through some options. So, because I kick that question back to you guys, what is the vision of courthouse, courtroom, not just courtroom, but county office security? What do you guys hope to see happen?
I guess a big part of it is just discussion on what options even are, and I think that's kind of why we just deferred to, well, can we go back to the way it used to be? Because we know that was something that had already been there, but this is a real roller coaster ride of a subject, I think, for this room, and I have concerns for our staff, and like how are they expected to do their jobs if there are people who have openly made threats against people in this building walk in and out, and there's just nothing, it's just an open door. So, if it weren't for, sadly what seems like just a handful of pretty unhinged people, this wouldn't be such a roller coaster ride, you know, we could establish some baseline stuff, but man, when things really hit the fan, you know, I watch staff get their anxiety levels go pretty high. And mine too.
So is your hope to have, like all business hours covered with some sort of security element in place or some sort of security filtration system where it's, where we have people scanned for weapons or just have an officer present? Is that the thought of something just all business hours? Is that the hope?
I don't think we've discussed that. That's something that would be good to talk about right now.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we've talked about whether it makes sense sometimes or all the time, or, you know, and someone posted at the door would be a lot less restrictive and intrusive than the whole gate and, you know, metal detectors and everything at the door like it used to be.
Yeah.
But that's also a burden on your department, and, you know, you guys are stretched thin as it is.
Do you wanna talk about your comfort level such as it is right now? So we
Yeah,
can get a
so-
better sense from you.
Yeah, the way we sit right now with no changes at all, I wouldn't feel comfortable moving our upstairs security downstairs to have, you know, address everything. I need to maintain a person up there in the courtroom for the judges at all times when they're around. So it wouldn't be as simple as just transferring downstairs. So what we would need is a full-time person, if that's what we want as a county, is somebody down here. So that would be adding an extra full-time employee for that additional position. With that, that is something I feel completely comfortable managing. It's just what we do, it's a wheelhouse, and if that's what we want, that'd be an additional position so I wouldn't want to take anybody away from current staff to host that spot. That's maybe more of a longer term solution if that's what we want. I think in the short term, what we can do is random checks down here. So if this is something, hey, we want security down here for the county departments immediately, we can provide that in random periods. I think random periods is the best, obviously, if we're trying to enforce security. We don't want to say, hey, Monday from 8 to 10 every single week, we scan everybody in because everybody's gonna show up at 10 or 1.
Yeah.
So we can probably dedicate, I don't have an exact amount of hours, but we can say maybe 8 hours a week, we're doing spot checks. Make sure that people are following the rules that are posted on the door, that you're not allowed to bring weapons in here. We can do some pre-scheduling too, so if you guys feel like you have a hot topic on the agenda, and you're concerned about the safety for that meeting, we can move somebody down here for that, given our availability. So I think we can work together and we can be more flexible with that, but if there's a hot topic meeting, you guys want us down here for a couple hours, and it's also a day where we have 5 transportations scheduled, and we're using court security staff for that, might not work out. But we're, you know, happy to do that if we can do it. So I think that's more of the quick solution on what our current capacity is. If that's a system you guys feel comfortable endorsing also, for having like those spot check periods, random checks.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Cause then people also don't know when it's gonna happen, and so they can't like anticipate when they could get through.
Correct.
Yeah, I like that.
That's just the schedule we can manage, so. What I can do is continue to have this conversation with my court security staff.
Yeah.
And see what is their time per week, we can talk about that further and say, yeah, let's start off with this, whatever amount of hours per week, we'll do a couple hours at a time, random days throughout the week, and just make sure that we're enforcing the current standards that we have in place now.
You say scan at the door, would you just have a wand?
You can just do one, yeah.
I know we talked about during renovations having a panic button.
Yeah, I was gonna ask the same thing.
It'd be nice to have one in each elected's office, cause there was a situation earlier. I know you guys are right there, but
It takes a minute to like get the phone out, text you, especially with the door closed now. It's like,
I know it'd be really hard to hardwire that stuff, but is there some kind of
There's some Bluetooth
Remote?
ones that are pretty affordable. You can even get them on Amazon. That just, you know, put an alert going off in the back.
Because
yeah, what about that?
in the past, generally, we know when something's going on, and it's almost always during regular meetings. Yeah. So, I mean, to me, that's, if you can't do a full security check at the front gate, man, it'd be nice to just have people know that, yeah, I'm gonna go in there and the sheriff's probably gonna be there and.
Yeah, it sounds to be quick.
I mean, if there's a way to solve this with hardware first, before worrying about like staff capacity,
Right.
I'd prefer that,
What, like a panic button?
like a panic button
Yeah.
for everybody,
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
I'll work on that and, we work together a quote on what that would cost.
Sweet.
I'll have to talk to dispatch too, so, cause they would be, essentially, that would go to dispatch and then they would dispatch somebody to
Yeah.
whatever is happening, so.
What is the situation if, someone who has been known to carry weapons in this building is seen in this building? How do we?
Yeah, I would just call that into us immediately.
Okay.
Let us know that.
Is it up to your discretion who is allowed to carry weapons in this building?
But yeah, obviously to some level. But yeah, I would call us, let us manage that situation in the moment. If it happens afterwards, I'd still call us, let us handle that situation. So especially if it's somebody known, we can contact them, and handle it. But yeah, I mean, we're letting law enforcement carry in here off duty also, so I would like to know who that is.
Why do you let off-duty carry?
Because it's just a duty to enforce the law at all times, that we carry with us.
Is it the purview, I don't know the law, is it the purview of the sheriff to like be in charge of court security?
Yeah, I don't know if it's specified in statute if the sheriff controls that, or if it's more of a BOCC decision on what they allow in their building.
Okay.
Isn't there a state law
Not that I'm aware of.
for churches and schools
Oh,
Public buildings?
and public buildings?
yeah, I don't know who has control of that.
I feel like there's public buildings in other counties where if you roll around it would carry. Or maybe I'm remembering the 80s, I don't know.
Every damn year.
Okay, so part-time, random, rolling presence in the front entryway is a option. It's at least better than, it's better than where we're at right now.
Yeah, and then specifically around some of our regular meetings, which is, that's the likelihood goes up, and then some of those meetings are really contentious.
I mean, is that really when we've heard the craziest stuff? I feel like the craziest stuff hasn't actually been around our meetings, it's been
It's been the assessor's office.
the
it's
assessor's
been-
office and the treasurer's office they've been stolen from.
And,
Oh, really?
Yeah, so,
It seems like they know, I don't know, I disagree, I think they know we're here. And so that's when they're coming to make their presence known. Am I wrong in thinking that?
I have not felt, except from when we were first seated and that guy came to yell at me,
Yeah.
I haven't actually felt any sort of aggression or violence in this room. That I would be like, Heath, what's our plan?
Yeah.
Whereas down the hallway, the amount of like
Screaming and yelling.
screaming and yelling and random,
walk-ins.
yeah, specifically with the assessor and treasurer is where I see the biggest deal. That's to me why panic buttons would be more valuable than like scheduling with us. And I also wonder if like a panic button or even us collecting some data about like when, like if Heath is gonna dedicate some employee time to this, being out in the front, maybe we could actually be collecting data about when we feel most at risk. That would be a little more targeted as opposed to just like a random, well, I hope this is the time when somebody thought
It'd
they'd
just
come
be sweet
in.
if there was a desk there, where someone, when they gotta sit and do some paperwork, be like, oh, you can just hang out in the front and do your paperwork up there, at least there's visibility, which a lot of times is just, that's enough of a deterrent for a lot of troublemakers, I feel like, I'm not an expert, but, I mean,
Funny.
When you were a troublemaker.
oh, I mean, I was talking about
You're not
expert
an
on
expert.
security, you know, no, that was
Not
all
expert
lifetimes ago.
troublemaking.
Yeah, I think we can implement that soon. Maybe next week, we can develop a little plan and start that, and work on a quote for the panic buttons.
Cool.
There's some quick solutions we can look for.
Yeah, I've seen them on Amazon for pretty cheap, and I don't know if that's something you'd even be okay with, if it's just a little beeper that goes off back there and has two different levels of like, hey, this could be a thing, or like, yo, we're freaking out.
Yeah, yeah, you have to be connected to our dispatch center.
Okay, so then it can't just be something we order over the,
Not an in-house
off the shelf.
solution?
I don't know what that technology looks like, if it's that easy to install nowadays, maybe.
Yeah.
I'd have to dig into it,
Yeah.
but we want something pretty reliable. And there are two different stages to it, so I'd have to dig into that technology.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Cause yeah, I think if the cheaper option were possible, I feel like we could pull that right out of our, I don't know, I'd pay for it right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Just to help people feel a little bit more secure at their jobs. I mean, they're working for the community and they're being paid with tax dollars, and there are times where people are too free, you know, like people are shutting and locking these doors or their own offices, and you know, it's like, we can't have that, man. So I mean, it's not unheard of, it happens in every county in the state probably.
Well, and sometimes it's about like it's not actually about a weapon coming in, it's about de-escalating somebody once they're in here,
Yeah,
right? Cause the issues have not been armed,
no,
it's been somebody yelling
that
and
was
being
just
aggressive.
one little facet that jumps out to me, because there are people in the community I know who are more than likely at least have some blade in their pocket, if not a firearm. And
Totally.
you see them and you're like, wonder if they left all their stuff in the car or not, you know,
Yeah,
so.
yeah, totally. Love it.
Thanks
But
for
I think
working.
it might be worth entertaining too, some sort of crisis intervention training for staff. If that's something that we can maybe grab just a one-day course on. The law enforcement version is a five-day course, but that's pretty helpful. And I think if we don't know when folks are gonna show up and what the reaction is gonna be to the assessor or the treasurer or this room, if we have some staff training just on basic level on how to manage that person right there in the moment, because they're gonna be the first ones to engage with this.
Yeah.
That might be another countermeasure to consider is training.
That's a great idea.
And it'd be way better to talk somebody down than, you know, say the wrong thing and escalate a situation.
It's really easy to do, you know, it's, especially when the emotions are high and you feel the need to defend yourself. It's just stuff we encounter all the time.
You mean it's easy to take it too far unintentionally, or
Correct.
say the wrong
Say the
things?
wrong
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's a great idea, I agree, great.
I've had a couple incidents, but they've all been one on the courthouse steps and then one walking out.
Same person, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's valuable training.
Yeah. I would be.
My de-escalation tactic turned out to have the opposite effect.
Well, you just said it's pretty easy to.
It's common, yeah. And a lot of this training is really good. I mean, if you can get something law enforcement related to all staff, maybe in a shorter condensed version, that'd be pretty helpful, because they usually bring in actors and challenge the students going through the course, but that's the full version.
Yeah, cool. That would be intense. Yeah, our classes, it was make a joke, you know, like we try to diffuse things by, you know, use humor, and it's like, that pisses people off sometimes. So,
This says in 2024, Colorado law prohibits carrying firearms, both concealed carry and open carry, in state and local government buildings, including legislative buildings, courthouses, polling places, and schools. Exemptions exist for parking areas of some facilities, and local governments may opt out for those regulations. So it is a statewide.
What's that statute?
Senate Bill 24.131.
Yeah, it's probably a public education bit that we can push to, so might people just be unaware of that.
Totally,
That,
yeah.
And miss all the signs, because there's a lot of signs up front of the courthouse and anything.
I know the list.
We can,
The list is everywhere.
we can maybe even reduce the accidental ones by just public education. So I think hitting it from every angle will have the bigger benefit that we're looking for.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Heath. Appreciate you chatting with us about this.
Yeah. I guess we can see how this goes and continue the conversation, and if it is something long-term that we want somebody there during all business hours, or anytime the courthouse is open. Sometimes I you guys have extended meetings going past normal business hours. Sometimes we open doors for Santa Claus to come sit with the kids, and the Easter Bunny is probably coming up here soon too.
Yeah.
So we can identify those periods, okay, if these doors are open, we got security in place.
Yeah.
And, but I think this is a good first step.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Any thoughts on that one?
No, I think that's a good plan.
It's great first steps. Cool.
Thanks.
Well, thanks for coming in. We appreciate your time and flexibility.
Shall we wrap it up?
Yeah.
Do it. Do it, Matt. Do it, Chair.
This concludes our work session. It is 3:12, March 24th, and that's that.
Thank you.